can hear me, but I'm speaking to y'all. I just want to see if y'all understand where I'm coming from. So,
Not a problem.
um, the term I guess I'm getting kind of confused as to why I keep making sure that the language is important and the words that we use. So I'm gonna just take 3 minutes, right? Because I wanted to make sure I wasn't doing semantics when I'm saying, because I don't even think we're fleshing out these definitions. Slavery, liberation, and freedom. Mujasi, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the reason why I'm being precise is because while not knowing the specific definitions, I looked it up to try to make sure that with the difference between them. And now I've gotten even a starker contrast, right? So slavery, literal slavery is the legal ownership of people as property. Chattel slavery ended in 1865, but then sharecropping, convict leasing, Jim Crow redlining, mass incarceration recreated slavery's functions without the chains. So Du Bois called this wage slavery, and Michelle Alexander calls this mass incarceration the new Jim Crow. So then now let's talk about liberation. Now here's the funny thing about liberation, right? And I knew, but in the back of my mind, why I kept saying we got to be specific when we saying free, slavery, like these different words, because there's a piece to liberation that nobody in here has talked about.
There you go.
Liberation means deliverance from oppression into power.
There you go. Here we go. That's what I came up
Emancipation.
for.
That is not the definition. That's not the definition I just read.
I'm not fucking done talking.
But you make you lying.
Hold on 1 second. Let me help you with that.
Yeah, anybody has a difference of opinion.
Yeah, let me help you with that. As soon as I'm done talking, tell me how wrong I am. Liberation means deliverance from oppression into power. Emancipation was not liberation. It ended slavery, but it didn't transfer land, wealth, or sovereignty. The civil rights wasn't the liberation. It ended legal segregation, but it kept the systemic inequality. Colonies are waving new flags, but not liberated. So if you control true liberation to me, maybe not the charter definition, but true liberation to me would be controlling your destiny as a people, allowing you to get the same shit everybody can get. But if you stymie me from trying to, that's not something else. But then freedom, personal mobility within the system, voting, traveling, buying, and speaking. But freedom without liberation is a condition. So you can move, but you can only move within the parameters they say you can.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is you end up being in a situation where people feel free, but you're still controlled by surveillance, debt, and laws. So this is, I'm gonna land my plane right here. So if you collapse freedom into liberation, you hide the fact that the power shifted but never disappeared. If you collapse slavery into only chains and plantations, you ignore its structure if you focus on white people. Language precision is the difference between celebrating progress and fighting for what we still don't have. Now, Mujasi and C-Dot, I know everybody gonna throw tomatoes in a second. Mujasi and C-Dot, do you understand what I'm saying right there? And if I made a mistake, tell me.
I completely understand that. I don't know how you can mount an argument against that. I completely understand that. That makes perfect sense. See that?
I understand it also. The reason I came up here is because I saw that out of all the time that y'all been talking, nobody has really defined liberation. So I know you just gave that definition. The other guy, I don't know if that was Fetty or not, but the other person was saying that that's not the definition. He probably gonna go by the colloquial definition that's in the that's
So we're allowed to make up our own definition.
Wikipedia or something like that. So I've looked at both definitions, and according to these definitions, neither of the definitions that you're gonna find will say that the things that we went through in America was our liberation. Like none of it would count. I mean, I'm gonna say like the freedom of slavery, sure, but we weren't free from oppression. Even after slavery, it still wasn't free from oppression. As Brad brought up, you still had to deal with Jim Crow laws. which still restricted us and which which was the beginning of mass incarceration in order to continue to enslave us.
Can
So
you tell me how in 2025 how Jim Crow affects you now?
Jim Crow
Do
is
you have
not
a nice?
around
Do you
anymore.
have a? Do you have a nice? Do you have a
Jim,
nice career? Do you have a nice?
You don't ask me a question and then talk over me when I'm trying to
Go
answer.
ahead. Go
You
ahead.
want me to answer a question or do you want to keep talking? Was there
I would
more
like
to
you
it?
to answer. I would like you to answer.
Okay, Jim Crow doesn't exist in 2025,
Okay.
but that's not
Why
what
are
we
you
were
bringing it up?
discussing. We talked about because that's not what we were discussing. We were
He
talking
asked,
about
are we
slavery.
liberated today?
Brother,
Liberation.
please don't keep.
Are
I know
we
that's a
liberated
tactic
today?
for you to not want to hear the answer. As I was saying, after slavery was not our liberation, because after slavery we were still being oppressed. And I can make several arguments of oppression of black people today in 2025. So hopefully that would answer your question, brother. Since you're so busy trying to make an argument for goddamn how good white folks been to you.
Liberation occurred in for you. If that wasn't when it happened, when did it happen for you? If you say that it doesn't exist anymore in
It has never
2025,
happened. It has never happened. If you
so
want to talk
you've
about
never been
real
liberated.
liberation, then you can go to different liberation movements in
So
Africa.
you're
Like
oppressed right now. You don't have
Logic
any.
was
You don't
bringing
have
up
any
earlier
freedoms.
on. Real
You don't have
liberation
any.
means that
You don't have any freedoms as an American citizen.
real
Hey,
liberation
this
means
sound. Hey,
that you
one
get
mic.
to choose your own destiny.
This shit sound
Real
crazy.
liberation means you get to choose your own destiny. You get to decide what's going on in your future, not
We do.
your white
You
dad.
don't. You
That's
don't
the
get up
difference.
every. You don't. Oh, you mentally enslaved then, because you have the ability to get up and do whatever you want. What do you do as a career?
You gotta say own a business.
Right.
Yeah, this
Don't be asking me questions, bro. Like,
business owner.
say what you gonna say. All
Yeah,
that
but
weird ass.
all these people on the panel are business owners, but yet they're oppressed. I don't get that.
What the fuck do that got to do with anything?
Yo,
Jewish
yeah,
people was
this is-
Jewish people was business owners, and they was put in fucking chambers.
We still have all
What are you talking about?
You're
Y'all be
talking over
saying
me.
dumb shit that don't
screaming now. You're frustrated.
equate to freedom. Because you're saying stupid shit that don't equate to real
No,
freedom.
we
You're just saying
still
because you
have
own
all
a
this,
business
brother.
that you not oppressed, that people can't be oppressed because they own a business. That's
Brother,
stupidity.
we still have all the same
You
liberties of
can't-
every American in the country, brother. We can own land, we can own our home, we can have good careers. What are
wherever
you
they
talking
allow
about?
you to. Well,
Who allows
hold
you
on.
to?
So now I'm gonna answer your question without. No, I'm gonna
Who
try to
allows
give
you
you.
to?
I'm gonna try to give you a systemic. Trying to
White
give you an
man?
idea. You want to talk or you want to argue or you want to get the fuck out of here? Like I hate that we
It don't
be
matter,
having.
brother.
I hate that we be
you act like
having
you
a
just
good.
run shit. It don't matter, brother. Like,
I do.
just
And
like
you know the funny
agree,
thing is, no. You know the funny thing
you don't
is,
have the
I do.
ability to be disagreed with. It's okay. It's ego.
No. I don't want to argue. I want to have good discourse, but you just want to argue. I don't want to argue with you.
Brother, I disagreed and you put me on mute.
No, but
so
if
don't
I'm
argue.
talking, if I'm talking, you could disagree with me all day long. But if I'm talking, you can't just keep talking.
And that's a fair point. Okay, let's go. Continue.
So what? So in 2025, right? I was talking about the illusion. Now you said you can get up and do whatever you want, and the you can't really fight it from that point, because when you just say that I mean, I can't argue with you. I can't just get up and go do whatever I want. So, but there's a difference between freedom of motion and freedom of power. So when you say you can just go start a business, I hate when people say they business owners. It should be funny, but when you say business owner, right, then you still got to go get that funding from an institution where we get denied 4 times as much as anybody else.
I didn't have to get any funding. So no, that's incorrect, brother. I'm a business. I'll tell you about my as a tattoo artist how I got the capital, but I just started doing tattoo. I didn't need anybody to put money behind me or anything like that. No.
That shit don't even matter. Owning a business is irrelevant to oppression. People own businesses back in
How are you
Jim Crow
oppressed
time.
in
People
2025?
own businesses.
You're
That
not
don't mean they
explaining
weren't
how are we
oppressed.
oppressed? How are
So
we
you
oppressed?
using an example, you using a ridiculous example of owning a business as people not being oppressed is idiocy.
Give me an example of how people are oppressed in 2025. You're not giving me an example. What's an
After
example?
slavery, black people own
2025,
businesses. What happened
nobody
during
is
the, what
experiencing child
happened
slavery.
during what happened? See you, and just like Russ said, bro, you just like to talk over people. You don't want to listen because now you're being made to look stupid as fuck for the dumb shit that you saying. That makes no fucking sense. You just saying
You
dumb,
saying you're a slave
ridiculous
in
ass,
2025 is
right
stupid, brother.
wing,
That's
dumb ass
crazy. You're
points.
saying you're a slave in
I don't
2025 is
think
crazy.
T-Dot, none of us are
Nobody
saying
said,
we're
I
slaves.
never
That's
said it
what's
was.
crazy,
That's what I'm
brother.
saying. You're so goofy
That's
that you
okay.
keep making
Okay.
up scenarios that do
You
not
just made
match
that
the
up, brother.
conversation.
You
You
have
just keep
you
saying
have the right
dumb
that every
shit.
American citizen has. You're not
I
just
see
oppressed.
that y'all not seeing eye to eye with King J, but somehow we gotta be able
No,
to
because
like
dude is a
allow
king
King
symbol.
J.
That nigga just saying dumb shit. He's
But
not saying
sometimes,
anything that
How
has
are you
a,
oppressed
he's
in
not saying
2025,
anything
brother?
that
Hold
makes any
on.
How
sense.
are you
He was
oppressed?
my
How are
already
you
behavior.
oppressed as a
covered with the
black man in
whole, if you own
2025?
a business, then you shouldn't be oppressed. That's fucking stupid. That makes no rational logic sense at all. It's stupidity. It's propaganda that he
Okay,
has
so
learned
you
from his white
disagree with that
counterpart.
point. You disagree with
How
that
are
point.
you
Now,
oppressed, brother? I would
now,
like to know.
King J wants to say something. We understand you disagree. You feel like that's stupid, but we gotta at least let King J get what you deem as
I'm
stupid
gonna
out,
let him
so
talk.
that we
I'm gonna
can.
let him talk. I'm gonna let him get
Hey,
it out. I
hey,
just wanted to
Corey,
make sure I got
Corey.
everything I wanted to
No.
get
Hey,
out
Corey,
before he
hold on,
started
C-Dot.
interrupting
Hold on,
me.
C-Dot.
So I'm
Corey,
gonna
don't
mute
do
right
that.
now.
No. Hold on, C-Dot. Don't do that, Corey. Because I was
Well,
talking, and then he started talking about tattoo shops. I was doing exactly what you asking me to do, and this nigga immediately said, "No, the fuck, you don't know what you're talking about because I do tattoos." See, like you got to hear everything, bro. He was about to get the exact
I heard what you
answer,
said. You
and
said
he
that we need
started. No,
money.
you didn't.
We
I
gotta
said
need
a
money for
sentence.
businesses
I
to get
said
started. I said,
one
no, you don't.
sentence. See,
I said,
Corey,
I'll tell you
yeah,
about my
see,
career.
you
he was
see, let me
coming with an
finish.
anecdote, but you, in all fairness, King J,
Yeah.
like we're talking about as a whole, like when you're talking about things like Jim Crow and being
But
denied at
we're
a
in
higher rate,
2025 though.
He
at
can't
a
even
higher.
stop talking while
Listen,
you talking.
no, hold on, and being denied loans for that capital that most people do need,
Hmm?
not you, but
Okay.
most people do need the loan for the capital, and we're getting denied at 4 times higher, I believe is what Brad said. So
Where are
like
you? But where are you? Where's your
you
demographic?
can't
Where is
come with
your
an
demographic?
anecdote
I'm
to
gonna ask
rebut that.
questions.
That's all I'm saying.
Okay, but I'm
Go
asking,
ahead.
where's your demographic at to where that's happening at? Because if you go to Detroit, that's all black. Everybody, all the lenders, the realtors,
Detroit is all
they're
black.
they're black.
And
They're
demographic
black
in a
people.
location.
So hold on,
Demographic
stop.
isn't a
This
location.
is why I was talking to you because I can't
No,
talk.
I wasn't done talking in the first place. I think y'all
What?
forgetting. Oh, wait, hold on. Are you saying I cut you off so you can't cut? What are you talking about? You cut me off in the first place. I was still talking.
You're gonna make 30,000 points. So go ahead, and then I'll just come back behind. But go ahead. You're trying to make it seem like if this all white people run everything. But it's like, what world are you living in, and where you're not surrounded by influential black people that are in positions of power? Like in my city states and where I'm from, like even if I go to Detroit, where my mother lives, it's all black. Her whole community is black people. They own their homes, they own their careers. They're influential people. They're Masons. They're OES. They work in hospitals. They're doctors. They're lawyers. There's a hospital right up the street that's black. There's a bank that's in their community that's owned by black people. I don't get it. Maybe y'all just around a bunch of poor people. But in 2025, all that Jim Crow shit don't apply no more. Like y'all need maybe y'all just talking to talk, but I guarantee you, all of y'all are well to do.
I think
And
those
none of
was
y'all
good points
struggling.
that deserve
Tell me how y'all are
rebuttal
depressed.
now. He making some good points now. Where you at, C-Dot? Where you at?
He making
Y'all
it up.
got to unmute the mics now, goddamn.
Not one single point that motherfucking weirdo done said made any fucking sense at all.
You
He
do.
is saying
Go ahead.
propagandist, right wing talking points. That's what he is giving you. The
Now
same
you
thing
got
he's
to
saying you can
elaborate
go
on
find
those
from the
points.
same.
C-Dot.
Just let me keep talking.
Go
The
ahead.
same thing he's saying you can go and find with these fucking white supremacists and shit who make these same ridiculous ass points. Oh, black people, you're fine. Look, you have a job. Look, you can play in NBA and make money. So there's no way you could possibly think that you could be oppressed or that you're not liberated. And as I explained before, liberation is not about just simply being free. It's about having the capability to determine your own destiny. That's what African liberation is about. If you go and type in Google African liberation, it'll show you the African liberationists. What are they liberating from? Western colonization. Why are they still doing that in 2025? Because the colonists never left.
Brother, that's
All
so
they
that
did
so
was
from
put
what you just said, I guess
on
I'm not cutting you off. Go ahead. I'm not
everybody
cutting
else.
you off.
All they did was put their name on everything and told everybody else, y'all need to go by what we tell you to do. And you're saying, oh well, that's cool. Like that means you're still free because at least you can go out and get your business. So that makes you liberated. No, it is not what makes you liberated. You do not control nothing in Detroit. Nothing.
Yeah.
Your
Hold on,
mama
brother.
don't, your
Just hold on
daddy
before you
don't,
don't go
your cousin don't.
before you don't
Y'all
go.
don't control shit
Okay,
in
go ahead.
Detroit.
Go
Nothing.
ahead.
Nothing on American soil do black people control. So to make that ignorant comment just shows that some folks ain't that educated and ain't really paying attention. They just happy with
So
this and get so I'll mute again.
I'll respond without the insults. So, according to what you just said, the definition of liberation is the ability to provide for yourself, to control your destiny. So, I would say that owning land, owning having a career, those things would create generational wealth, so that you can have control your destiny not only for yourself but your family to come, your future generations. I want to own land. You understand what I'm saying? It's not 2025 where I'm saying, oh, the white man own. You can go out if you got enough money, you can buy whatever you want, brother.
We own land and
I don't know what world
We
you're
own
living
land
in.
and we own land in Rosewood, Florida. We own land in a whole lot of places in South Carolina, all through there. We own land in a whole lot of places,
That's
especially in
good.
the South.
Develop the land. Hope you got some mineral rights, and you okay.
What
So how are you oppressed? Tell me.
What happened to the land?
Let's see that. Let's get an understanding.
No.
Let's get an understanding,
I want you to
brother.
tell
Let's not
me
talk over each other because
the land that we own. What happened to it? What happened to the land that we own?
What happened to it? You don't have it no more.
Why not?
Did everybody get their land taken or just yours?
I'm asking you,
That's
why
your
don't
sad
we
story, brother.
land
That's
that
your
we
sad
weren't
story. That's why
on
you're so
before?
angry at the
If we so
government, brother.
liberated, why don't we still own that
Everybody
land
don't
that
have
we
it.
had after slavery?
Everybody don't have that sad story. Everybody don't have that sad story. Like
I ain't asked you about a sad story. I asked you what happened to Tulsa, what happened to Rosewood, what
brother,
happened
why do
to
you keep
South
talking
Carolina?
about
Ask you those
talking about
things.
stuff that happened 75 years ago?
Black people had. That's what I'm asking you. What happened to the land
Brother,
that we had?
it's 2025. Get you some money and quit talking about the white man.
So let me ask
That's what I'm saying. That's why I call niggas like you good.
Ask a question.
You have nothing to back up the bullshit.
Racism does not exist, brother.
Matter of fact, is nothing more than rhetoric.
Classism, brother. It's the half and a half now, brother.
Let me ask a question.
Some money, brother.
Real
All
quick.
it's based on is your ignorance and willingness.
Some money, brother. Control your own destiny, brother. Quit speaking the white man controlling your world.
I'm on mute and let you keep on with your soundball.
Well, let me ask. So, are you saying that those things, because every time I hear what you're saying, and I think it was some pertinent points in some of what you were saying, but I want to know: are you saying that those things that they keep? Because you keep saying like, well, you bringing up the past, and this is 2025. Are you saying that those things don't have no effect on 2025? Those don't have like a reverberation.
The Jim Crow laws do not have any effect on me currently during 2025. No, they do not. The Jim Crow laws are not affecting me to go out and get a job and provide for myself or my family or anything with food, clothing, or shelter. The Jim Crow laws do not stop that. Tulsa, Oklahoma, been bombing whenever that's not stopping us today from going out and doing what you want to do and provide for your family. So if you sit here and saying in 2025 that the white man runs shit, then what are you really saying? That white power is supreme? I don't believe in that. I don't believe in white supremacy, and I don't believe in that. You know what I'm saying? If anything, it's classism. So just imagine this: a utopia where black people controlled everything around the world. You don't think it's going to be a part of that where there's poor people at the bottom? Some sort of class. It's always been like that. So it's just like maybe they're just like they're delivering in this white and black racist slavery mindset. Like I don't
Hey,
understand
who
it.
the fuck is? Hey, who the fuck is this? So I can block you. Fuck
Well,
all
well,
you.
but
Christ,
Thank
who
you.
the fuck
Hey,
is this?
you know he
before
was
we
You
get
know
to
what I'm
about
the
that.
saying?
So
You know
I
what I'm
can block
saying? You
you.
went,
I
you
I
went
ain't
want
to
to
gonna
that
be
reason
nice
with
topic,
like
bro.
Peter,
I
I'm
bro.
ain't
gonna
Who
reason
the
said
fuck
I'm
is
gonna
this
do some
nigga so
reason.
I can block him?
Just
See,
difference
see,
of
Chef,
opinion, bro. They
see,
gonna
Chef.
snipe you in the neck 100 yards away.
Yeah, you
You
too,
said
Fetty.
you
Fetty,
that
you,
No, it's
Fetty, you
not
on the list too.
100% like
You on
that.
the list too,
Don't
Fetty.
paint the broad brush, Fetty. It's not 100% like that. So I'm intolerant on some things, and other people are intolerant on other things. We all got
Nah, I'm telling you that
kind of
blackology
lines.
shit real, bro. I'm trying to tell y'all, bro.
Hey,
Well,
it's sad,
It
y'all.
sound like
blackology is real.
we talking, we on the plantation right now, the way y'all talking.
That's what
it's
I'm
as real
saying.
as symbolism.
No, well,
It's as real as tap dancing for white folks. That's what
They
it is.
talking about it happened in
I
1940.
want to agree. So I want to just point out, like, I disagree with most of what he said, but I do agree. The most pertinent point that he made, I do agree with, and that's the fact that in 2025, the real fight is classism,
Exactly.
right?
That's it.
I think that's the real fight. So I agree with
That's it.
that part of it, but I think you still got a long way to convince me on the other shit. You know what I mean? But y'all go ahead. You want to say something else? I think
Man,
C.
hey, I'm gonna say this. Just to rebut what you were saying as far as classism goes. We
Mhm.
always had to worry about being at the bottom. We still in 2025 are at the bottom of classism in America. So when we sit here and talk about classism, white folks, as they have previously, ain't studying none of that shit. The reason they ain't studying none of that shit is because their class is always gonna be has always been, and always will be put in front of us. So as long as they ain't got to sit at the bottom with us, they perfectly fine. They don't mind being
I think
at a
that's the
silver
trick,
class
though.
for other white folks in America.
Yeah, I think that's true. What you said, that as long as
History
white
shows
folks say, the white man say, as long as I ain't black, I'm winning.
exactly.
But
History has shown us this, not only back in
that's a,
the 1800s, but
that's
as
a
close to the
trick.
1960s.
Okay, fine, and he got a little notch. He got a notch over us, right? But that's the whole trick. That's what keeps white people complacent, and that's what keeps the upper echelons, the 1%, the 10%. That's what keep those folks on top. You see what I'm saying? So I think that part, what you're saying, is the actual trick, and that's the part. So when we don't, if we don't actually kind of recognize that part, I don't think it's nothing never we gonna be able to do about where our status
But that
is.
ain't the beginning part, though. That's what I'm saying. Like we worried about classism when black people in this country ain't made it to that point. This country
What
itself,
you mean we
as
ain't made it to that point?
the government has not made it to the point to where they finna get rid of racism in order to replace it with classism. They're not gonna do it. White folks, I've already
No,
told you
we're not
historically, white
saying
people in this
we
country
want
do
to
not
we want
care
to
about
eliminate the
being
classes.
Bro,
behind
we
upper
create
echelon.
social
They just
hierarchy and
want to make sure
classism
they're
in our
above.
own way.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's not. I mean, it's there in society. Period. There is classism, right?
Mm-hmm.
But see, let me explain. Classism, when you tackle classism, it puts people when you close the economic wealth gap, right? When you close it up somewhat, that allows people to be in a better position to tackle more serious issues
Exactly.
or issues that's pertinent to each specific group. If you ain't got the time or the money, then we gonna end up in the same place. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? So like, I think we white people and black people are being fooled.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't about racism. When listen, if I can have enough time and means, right, I can create my own conditions. I have more control over my circumstances. You see what I'm saying? And with that, like the means don't just mean money, right? The means also meaning education too. So I need the money so I can get the education so I can buy the time.
Sounds good.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
That's a good point.
Sounds very utopian, but it's
No, that's
not the
utopian.
reality
That's
of
not what
today. It's not the history of this country. It's not the history of white people or Europeans.
You
They've
made sense to me,
never,
Corey. That was very logical.
they've never been in the situation where they said, you know what, we're going to give black people, we're going to give black people equality and actually give them money. We're going to let them equal themselves to us financially. So then we can compete on the whole racial thing later on. That's never been the case. So why do we think that it's
classism is not about race.
It just changed, and now all of a sudden white folks is willing to let us in the line with them. And now we ain't gonna focus on classism no more. That's not the way. We're just gonna attack racism, and we're gonna get that washed up because now we're gonna focus on classism. That's not the reality. It's just not the reality. It's never been the reality. I don't understand why y'all think
it's our reality, brother. It ain't
the reality.
It ain't yours.
Give me a case where that has been the reality.
Everybody's reality is different, brother.
Any country. Give me a case where it's been where Europeans have made that decision. We're gonna make sure that we financially qualify ourselves. We're gonna put ourselves right next to the black people, and that's how we're gonna move forward. Show me one example of that happening anywhere in the world.
I don't think that was what I was saying. That wasn't what I was saying. Say that.
Okay, so that's my point.
I'm not
How does this classism thing? How does this classism thing become a forefront in order for us to go after it?
Maybe somebody can explain it a little bit better, but I that's not what I was talking about. What I was.
No, you explained it very well. You broke it down. You explained. He just got something against white people.
Yeah, so and
I got something against you being on white people's dick. That's all. I don't have nothing against white people. I got something against you always want to go against somebody and you the talking like black politics and all this other bullshit, all this other Sambo ass talking points. I have a problem with that. I don't have an issue with white people at all. I don't have a hate for white people. None of that type of shit. I have a problem when black people get up here and start fucking
we're not oppressed by white people like you are.
I got a problem with black people on this bitch.
I'm not saying that
get online and stigmatizing other black people based on their ignorant ass perception of black people. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, so see that I wasn't saying that racism don't exist. I think that was King J that said that.
Yeah, not you. I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about King J. He know who I'm talking about. He know I was talking about him. I wasn't talking about you. I understand that you was trying to get an understanding of what the conversation was. But at the same time, like I said, what makes me automatically pissed off is when you get black people that have come up on panels and shit, start making up nicknames for black people who are positive towards other black people, or have positive intentions towards other black people, and they want to come up and start making it, oh, that's a blackologist, and they don't think right and all this other old goofy ass Sambo shit. I can't rock with that. I'm not going to accept that.
How do we define tyranny while we looking up definitions?
Ain't nothing wrong with
how do we define tyranny at all?
Even his verbiage is.
Yeah, okay, so how do we define tyranny while we define the word? Is that important to like what we talking about?
No.
Tyranny?
But you would.
It can happen in a capitalistic system, but we ain't made it to that part yet. I'm just what the brother explained earlier was about how he working and like we have all the same liberties as every other American in this country, brother. We can work and have what we want in this country, but it's called empowerment. That's not Sambo telling other black people, look, you're not systematically oppressed. A white man ain't got you down like that. That's empowerment. So it's the opposite of what you're saying. We're
Oh, it's
oppressed.
a fucking lie.
The white man got his feet on my neck. I can't have nothing in
Nobody
2025.
said that. Nobody said that. That's that right wing talking point bullshit. Nobody said that. Nobody. You keep coming up here with white
You
folks
said
talking
that,
points,
Shaq.
and when somebody tell you that you kicking white folks talking points, you want to move the goalposts. That's what I'm talking about. You are the definition of what I call Sambo. When I be calling people Sambos, it's niggas like
is a
that.
black person saying that we can have something a white person talking point? Saying that we can have all the same liberties that these white people got is a white person talking point? That's crazy.
That ain't what your weird ass just got to saying. And you keep moving the goalposts every time you make another comment. You want to make something
That's what
further
you just said.
incendiary
That's
about
literally what
black
you just
people,
said.
while at the same time trying to sit up here and act like you empowering somebody. You not.
Okay.
You ain't empowering shit. You're lying.
I'm not gonna tell my brothers and sisters that we are oppressed and that we can't have the same liberties that any other American can have. That's crazy.
You gonna tell it, but you gonna tell them that they've never been you gonna tell them that they was actually liberated after slavery.
I would never start my history in slavery. That's some shit some white people would do.
Man.
That's crazy. I wouldn't even
tell them that they was liberated after slavery, which is a goddamn lie.
I don't have a problem with
it's a lie. Black people were not liberated after slavery.
So we're still oppressed. Okay, 2025. Okay.
We are still oppressed.
Okay.
You see, but one of the things I have a problem with in the Corey.
There's always going to be an oppressor in the
system. Let's two P's run. Let's two P's run it down real quick. Go ahead, two P's.
Give me a chance to talk because within the white system, black people ownership is determined by the protection of the white system. The house you own, you're allowed to own the house under a white system. No, because we own the house, we forget the system that we're under and believe that we now have a level of permanency, that our strides that we have made are permanent and cannot be taken away. But we're not looking at the system, what is happening now. How the Supreme Court is owned by an individual who wants to fire somebody, a black woman at the federal bank. He wants to fire her. Some court said no one can't fire her, and he pushed the matter up to the Supreme Court. Are we liberated then? Are we liberated? And nobody can say he doesn't want to fire her based on the color of her skin. Because that's the only reason why he wants to fire her. Because they're making up all kind of shit that say she's this, she's that, and none of that has been proven in law. She went to court and beat those cases. But black people here will tell you today that no, we are not oppressed. That we own what we own because of our own two hardworking hands, and not realizing that when you drive through Detroit that he mentioned earlier, the amount of abandoned houses that were owned by black people that totally lost their value because we make strides, we forget where we are. No, man, we're not real. We're not real. Anybody who say it might not look the same way as we think it would look 100 years ago, but it is still there. And some people have made achievement in spite of the oppression. And we appreciate those people. Don't feel that the achievement mean anything, because all of those achievements are protected by same white people and white people law, and they can change their mind anytime. We're living in a white system because who in charge of the system is white people. But you can go ahead.
And so what I'm getting out of what you're saying it puts me in the mind of what you're saying is, right? Don't get complacent because the shit you got can be taken away if you forget about the shit that happened, right? The freedoms that the little freedoms that we do deserve, that we do got, and we do deserve, right? Those can be taken away. So don't never put your guard down, and always do like the Jewish people say, never forget. So never again, never forget, never again. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah, I'm glad you cleaned that up, Corey, because I was okay. I feel that now. Yeah, sure.
But these Negroes forgetting. These Negroes who come in here now and talking all of this bullshit, forgetting and think that whatever we have now is permanent. It's a continuous fight. We can never stop fighting.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
But these Negroes come in here and talk about, I have a business, and your business don't mean shit. It don't mean shit.
You gotta start in your household. It do. It mean everything to my family. So I don't know what you're talking about.
That is why
absolutely, it means something to you. Absolutely, it means to you and your family. Absolutely. But what he's saying is, don't let that blind you. Don't be I guess with like the horses. I guess when they say the one horse got a block of sugar. The one horse get a block of sugar, but he don't realize that all the other horses didn't get a block of sugar.
That's the right wing thought process. He don't give a fuck about nobody else. They taught to not give a fuck about nobody else, but then they'll come on platforms where you talk where you talking about community. They'll even throw in little shit. They'll even throw in little shit that got to do with community when they really only concerned about themselves. So I don't know why they get on think tank type platforms at all.
I noticed that most black people on the internet actually don't do shit for black people in real life. That's what I'm
gonna change my name to that. I'm gonna change my name to that.
Let me add something to that. These Negroes that come in here, many of these Negroes that come in here, believe that the white community is going to protect them. That's what they believe. They believe that the white community is going to protect them. You have to build up your own community because that's where the protection is going to come from. Not from white people. Not from these laws that you put your faith in. Because it don't mean shit. It don't mean shit. It is not applied the same for black people as it is applied for white people. And we have seen that through over-policing and mass incarceration. That the laws don't
I disagree with that, brother, because the police are just blue. They're not no white or black. It's blue. I done got my ass beat by black police. I done had they don't nah.
This dude,
the police are blue. They're not black or white, brother. So I don't want to hear this white police shit.
Dude, don't ever believe that. Not because you see a black man in police uniform, don't think that he's not been brainwashed into a white system. That he's not been brainwashed into a
most of the time.
It sounds like you say anybody that's doing something good.
They be trying to impress the other white cop. That's the majority of the time that I see that. You know what I mean?
Listen, Corey. You know why we run out to whitey land? For safety and protection as black people. Because the police force is protecting that part of the country. We're going to their community for their protection. We need to work in our community that we don't need to run from our community for protection. But many of us here feel that in Jamaica, they say the higher monkey climb, the more he expose himself. Climb, monkey, climb. And I'm not calling monkey as a racial figure. I'm just using it that the higher you go up in the tree, the more you don't have the foliage to protect you. So when you go up there and nobody else look like you, don't be too reliant on them to protect you. But we're going on this thing, and we're talking that we're liberated and we're free. And it's 1960. is 1960. Most black
How
people
your oppressors liberate you though? That's the real question that people gotta ask. How can your oppressor liberate you? How? How is that possible for your oppressor to liberate you? Only you can liberate you. Only black people can liberate black people. Point blank up here. I'm not giving no damn credit to no fucking American government. Because they ain't liberate shit. They did shit that was best for their own interest. Point blank and period. Not gonna sit up here and get them credit for all the hard ass work and shit that we had to go through as black people. Look at Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman didn't wait on white folks to liberate her. She liberated herself. Then she went back and liberated other black people. Why? Because she knew that's what needed to be done. That's the same thing that goes for black people in 2025. If black people don't start liberating black people, then black people can't claim liberation.
Yeah, what is your steps to doing that? Through economics or military? Economics. But you said that was white people shit, getting money. Okay.
What? You just be saying shit. That's what I'm saying. Like people like you just love to just say random. Nobody said nothing about finances with white people. Never did I say that. Who else heard me say something that's stupid?
Yeah.
Anybody else up here hear me say that?
Or you just want to argue with me?
I'm muting out.
You just saying stupid shit, bro. It don't make sense. And then you just throw it out there in the wind. You just throwing random stupid shit out there in the wind.
It don't make sense. No, you screaming and you're hollering like you're loud and wrong.
How did America liberate you?
You believe that white people are running shit and oppressing black people in 2025?
How did America liberate you?
I liberated myself through economics. I liberated myself through economics.
Okay, so before you liberated yourself, you were oppressed?
No, you don't want to claim an oppression.
So what happened? When did you liberate yourself? When you was born?
Brother, I've never listen. I don't believe in this white people shit that you do or this systematic oppression.
You refuse to answer this damn question though, because you keep wanting to dance around it because you don't put your foot in your damn mouth.
I don't believe in that shit. You do.
When did you liberate yourself?
I was born liberated, brother. Out the womb came out. I had a destiny.
You liberated yourself out the womb?
My destiny. Well, I was born free, brother. I wasn't born a slave. I was born free. You was born a slave?
Who liberated you?
Damn.
Who liberated you?
I never had a liberator. What are you talking about? Do you know what liberation means?
So that means how are you liberated? If nobody ever liberated you in the past and you were just born free, how did that happen, my nigga? How did that happen?
That's your talking point that black people in America are slaves in 2025. That's your talking point.
I never see you keep moving. You see what I'm saying?
That's
you too naive, and you realize that you stuck your fucking foot in your mouth, so you keep making up random nonsense.
Brother,
asking your weird ass, how are you liberated today? Who liberated you today?
I was born free.
And that's you what you believe in. I asked you, how were you liberated? Which is the subject of this conversation. Liberation.
Yeah. Liberation. And you believe that in 2025, black people are still slaves. Systematically enslaved. I don't believe in that, brother.
I'm going on mute. I'm stupid people. That's what I'm talking about. Y'all had these goofy ass niggas up here trying to talk like they smart and shit, and they be dumb as fuck.
You don't know what they saying. Stupid shit, brother. No, brother.
He's intelligent. I'm gonna mute. I'm mute. Y'all keep talking this goofy nigga.
Nah, it's all good.
So, brother Jay, you say there is no systemic racism in 2025. Is that
it don't affect me? It's not affecting me in any type of way, brother. I go out here. What determines do you know what determines my wealth? Me as an entrepreneur, me getting up every day determines. Am I promoting myself? Am I marketing myself? That determines how much wealth that I make. And no white people
Right.
but
So you
King J,
saying it
but
just
King
don't
J,
affect you, but you're not saying it don't exist.
right,
There's no
it does not
system.
right.
affect
That was
me.
my exact question, Corey. That was my question. Like, are you saying it doesn't exist, or are you saying that it does? It just doesn't affect you, bro?
If it doesn't affect me, it doesn't exist to me. Here, I don't. You
But
don't
what if it
understand that
exists?
kind of.
That's not
But
the
what if it
question.
affects? What if
You're
it
not
affects
giving
me
me
though?
an honest answer. I'm trying to have an honest conversation with you.
Yeah.
Like,
What if it affects me, King J?
what we're trying to determine is whether you acknowledge that there is systemic racism, but that is systemic racism just doesn't affect me, or at least you don't believe it affects you, right? Is that what you're
Right.
saying, or are you just saying systemic racism just don't exist?
Don't exist. Yeah, I'm trying to get that too, Corey. What are we saying here?
In all systems, brother, it's gonna be somebody at the top and it's gonna be somebody at the bottom, brother. I'm not at the bottom of the totem pole, brother. It's white people that's below me that's having more hard times in life than me, brother. In the same system that I'm
So
in,
this
brother.
ain't gonna have
So it's not no race. So that's the brothers talking about this racist white people shit. I don't feel like.
I didn't ask you about white people.
The C dot.
I already asked
I'm a big believer
you
on
know what my
classism.
question was. So
I'm a big believer.
I'm to the point where you just not gonna have an honest conversation.
Yeah, because I don't believe in racism like that. Whereas it's white people in power and control. It's more of a classism thing, and it's not a white person at the top. Do you think these people
I've acknowledged the classism, right? But at least can you either you can say to me that no, it don't exist across the board, or it actually does. Nothing.
I'm here.
That brother has
he
been
asked you a
talking
question though.
I'm here. It's not. There's nothing to talk about really. I mean, like,
just don't want to respond. Okay, I ain't mad.
He's made his point. He's made his point, and then if you want to elaborate on, I'm just trying to figure out how if you're saying that racism, systematic white people are in control of this system.
I didn't say white people. I just said systemic racism.
We're having two different arguments. Different people. This is T-Dot's argument.
I'm talking about C-Dot. That man talking to you, bro. He talking to you, not C-Dot.
Right now. I guess. I mean, that should be the easiest part. That part jammed you up. Like that's all we had to ask. You know, I thought we was gonna have I was thinking we was gonna go into a nuanced conversation here, but you jammed up. You jammed up on the foundational question.
A black man coming here, he doesn't believe this. See that?
Yeah,
I just haven't had the same experience in that you guys have had, I guess.
Well, here's the thing, King J. Here's the thing, King J.
I never told you my experience. I never said anything about anybody's experience.
Right.
You're talking to me right now. I know you didn't have a lot of conversations with all the different people, right? But like right now, you're talking to me. So I never said it what my experience was. I'm just asking a fundamental question so that we can have a conversation.
Okay, let's go. Let's go.
And not only that, King J, but you're speaking about the collective, and you're speaking on it in an individual basis. Okay, you didn't have that experience, but we're speaking about the collective. So you understand why
Can the collective be my community that I'm around, or the people that I live? Could that be also like what I?
That could be. So do you think that?
Listen. So if they're all if there's a hospital, if there's a bank behind me, that they all like, I just don't see it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
okay,
the
even
struggle,
within that.
like I don't
Okay.
see where
Okay, well,
I don't
that
see
you
where
know
I don't
what?
see where they might
I
go
think
into the
that just
bank.
pretty
No,
much
hold on,
answers
listen. Let
my
me talk. You
question.
asked me a
Go
question.
ahead.
I'm giving you. I'm
Now
trying to
you,
talk.
oh, now you're getting talkative. Go ahead now.
I can't. I thought this.
Yeah, because
I just don't
you've
see
already
where
answered it.
I just don't see where if I go into the bank to get a loan and it's another black person and my loan gets approved. So you may go to a bank with a white person and they deny you. So that's maybe where you get that feeling from. So
But
maybe it's just
here's
your
the thing, though.
demographic. Maybe it's just your
KJ, I
demographic
got
in
your
the
answer.
country, or
I got your answer. I got your
it's
answer.
like, I don't know if you hang around a lot of
Let's keep it moving because I got another question. Let's keep it moving. So here's the thing. So you said within your community. Now within your community, have you individually, since you're speaking individually, have you individually gone? You're speaking individually about the collective. Have you gone around and asked each one of those successful people, hey, did you encounter any struggles? Did you come across any sort of
they
what were
have.
the
I'm sure that
barriers that you overcame to get to where have you done that? To
I'm sure they
everyone in that community.
I'm sure they have had to overcome certain obstacles and things to get to where they are in life.
So
And
then
that
that means the shit exists, bro.
does it,
Because it
it,
didn't
it
exist.
that
It
means
just
that
means
that
you
means
got
that
over it.
it doesn't matter.
My bad.
Everybody has to go through something to get to where they're going. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean that they
Well,
experience systematic racism.
right. So that's what they're saying,
It doesn't
bro.
mean it doesn't mean there was a white man
Well,
holding back.
not
It could have been a black
everybody
man
has to
holding
go
back.
through systemic racism to make it to
Not
where
everyone goes through. Not everyone goes through it. But and also, here's the thing, though. You just admitted that you kept saying it don't exist, but then you just admitted that it exists. But some niggas can get past it. That's all that they were
well,
saying to you, bro.
his answer is good enough for
That's all.
me. He just don't see
Yeah,
it.
I'm with that. Yeah.
The answer is
Let
pretty
me
clear
help.
to me.
Let me help.
He
I'm
don't see
telling
it.
y'all, dude has been radicalized by right-wing propaganda.
Oh my
That's why
god.
he's saying this ridiculous shit
Oh
and
my
don't
god.
know how to explain it.
Oh
I'm
my
trying to
god.
tell
My
y'all,
nigga
when
died. I'm going
somebody
on mute.
says, I'm
He
being real,
ain't
when
doing a good
somebody
job of
says
explaining.
wild and ridiculous things like what this dude is saying, and then has no evidence of anything other than
He
his
come with
own
anecdote. He
circumstances.
come with
And then
anecdotal. He
anecdotal,
got a lot of
everything is
anecdotal
anecdotal.
evidence.
That's all right wing propaganda bullshit. Because they all do the same thing, especially black
Brother,
niggas.
I ain't gonna lie,
All
brother.
do the same shit. They'll
I
tell
ain't
you
gonna
that
lie.
I don't
people
know
are
that
okay now.
I'd attribute it to right wing
They'll
propaganda.
say black people.
They're usually able to articulate their arguments a little bit better.
It's
No,
not.
they not. No, they
It's not an
can't. They
argument.
can never
Yeah,
articulate their
It's
arguments
not.
because they never have
It's
valid
not.
arguments. Their
It's not an
the
arguments
argument.
are
thing is,
always packed with propaganda and shit that they've been
right.
told. That's why he will get up here and say, "Well, no, systemic racism doesn't exist." But then I turn
Yeah.
around when you give them examples, he get, "Oh, well, you just never seen it."
That's your
Oh,
personal.
nigga, you know it exists.
That's your personal
You know,
experience.
you ain't.
Everybody doesn't have that
It
experience,
got nothing to
brother.
do with personal experience, dude. It got
It
something
That's
to
the
do with actually.
thing.
It got something to do with actually paying attention
do,
to the majority of your
brother.
population of black people instead of just
Right,
the people that's
right,
in your neighborhood. Because that's the only
right.
thing is what's going on in your neighborhood. Nigga, you live in the suburbs. So how you gonna sit up here and compare yourself to everybody else that might be living in ghettos and fucking subpar living conditions? You can't because you never lived that. So all you
Yeah,
have to go off of is your weak ass experiences. But you ain't been
Hey,
through
King
shit.
J,
So therefore,
King
because
J.
you haven't been through anything, then you'll make the argument that ain't nobody having to go through
Who?
nothing. And that's
But
ridiculous. It's
why does
And
why is it everything that you
I
go
made
through
the
has to
same
be
mistake
systematic
yesterday.
racism? That's what's crazy.
I made that same mistake though yesterday, King J and C Dot, because I was mentioning the Workforce Investment Act, right? And I was saying how, you know, hey, there's no barriers for anybody. That's a federal grant. Anybody can just go out there and get the. And niggas ate me up on that shit, but that's just not true. It's not just across the board. It's just gonna be easy for everybody, bro. Like the grant exists.
Can I say something real quick? Just
Yeah, go
something.
ahead, go ahead,
I
go
feel
ahead,
like
go
it's
ahead.
just pertinent, and it's in
Go ahead.
regards to knowledge, information being available, and having accessibility to the information. Right. I'll give you an example. Right. I'll give you an
Go ahead.
example. Right. University of Illinois. Right. Where I'm at right now. Right. I applied for a media grant, right? It's a match grant, right? So $6,000 grant. That meant that the business had to pay $3,000 and that U of I would match the other $3,000. They did that, right? So long story short is the woman when I came to get the grant, when they invoiced me, she said, "Thank God you applied for this grant," right? She said, because this grant has been sitting here for the last 2-3 years. If you didn't apply for it this year, we would have had to give it back, right? Money's just sitting there. I'm like, oh, like, wow, they're thanking me, these white people, for coming to get this money, right? That just has been sitting there for black people to come get, right? We got it's a whole block where I'm from, First Street, where barbers are supposed to come. The whole block is just set aside for black people businesses. Do you think that they know about it? No. So it's not, I think that if more of the people that you're saying that are systematically oppressed will have more access to information, and just the know-how in the 2025, because it's a computer literate world. If you're not computer savvy, you may be a little behind, but it's all type of grants, $50,000. If you poor right now, it's because you want to be, or you just don't have the knowledge to get the money. So systematic, I just say you just
This
lack
is
of
called not
knowledge.
understanding economics, bro. How can you say something so ridiculous? You don't know what
That's
capitalism is.
ridiculous.
You have no clue of how economics work for you to make a comment like that. For you to say, well, if you broke right now, then you just want to be broke. That is one of the.
Yeah.
This is how
Because
I
it's too much
know that
money. It's too much
everything that you're
free money
spewing
out
is
there to
propaganda
get.
because you
Yeah,
don't understand economics and you don't
It's just
understand
lack of
capitalism.
knowledge, brother.
Capitalism does not allow everybody to not be poor. Somebody got to be poor in
Well,
capitalism,
I
bro.
already said that. I've been said that. What does
So
capitalism do with
how are
racism?
you
What does capitalism
contradicting
have to do with
yourself then?
racism?
So how
What
are
does
you
capitalism have to
contradicting
do with
yourself by
racism?
saying if you're poor, it's by choice?
I said that's not what I said. I said either
That's what you
that
said.
or are you gonna let me spinning? I said or lack of accessibility to the information to get the money. Because there's money that's sitting out there waiting for you for free. Did you not hear that point? That when I said that the
Grants
university
have
did you not hear
limits.
that point where I said this
Grants
established
have
institute
limits.
has money for black
Grants have
people that's giving it away for
Everybody
free.
can't go get a free grant. They
Why can't
have
they? They don't have the skill
limits.
set. They don't have the skill set. That
Oh
ain't
my
gonna do with
God.
being black.
See, now this is being dunce.
All
Now he's
right.
being
The
dunce.
skill set.
Because I'm
See,
explaining to
when we
you
have a conversation
that
outside of black and
grants
white, then you
have
realize
Hey,
how
hey,
dumb
hey,
you sound.
limits.
one mic, bro.
What
Why
am I?
everybody
What am? What?
moderating?
Grants
Yeah. What am
have
I listening
limits.
to?
Everybody cannot go out and just get a free grant from the government. That's not how it works. So for you to say that and make it like, oh, well,
According to your
if you
skill
broke,
set,
just go get a grant. That's
yeah,
not how it works.
it
All right,
is.
let's move forward, bro. Y'all just talking over each other. Can't even really get a good grasp of what y'all talking about. I'm listening on YouTube. I was busy. But what's funny is me and Chef was actually talking about something before this all started, and Chef literally said, whatever we was talking about is over with, and I told him it wasn't, and I can't even remember what the hell we was talking about. But that's fine. We just sometimes it's just agree to disagree, bro. We just agree to disagree on that particular point.
I think they were still
That was talking
arguing
about
over
liberation, though. That was
whether
y'all
we was
argument.
free. Yeah, and when you said that we didn't have true liberation and freedom, I think they continued that discussion, and it just
Right.
went off the rails.
I just think when you say the true liberation is just, I agree with that we can get up and do what we want, but when you add the caveat of within limits set by others or controlled by others, you may be freer than before, but you may be more liberated than before. But true liberation, I don't think we've seen that yet. Even with that caveat of the amendment, even emancipation, but everything of it has some kind of conditions. So my word would be more control. I think me and Logic was looking for a better word. I think what I'm describing while y'all were talking about liberation, freedom, and slavery, I think what I'm describing is just it's still just a certain level of control uniquely to us that we face, and I'm more comfortable with control. I think I'll even move because I don't think we'll get anywhere when it comes to the liberation conversation. I will give you credit for one thing, Chef. If you could somehow write down shit like this, these are good talking points, right? Whether we agree to disagree. But I've noticed that when we've kept the discourse civil, it's been really good discourse. Where it gets out of control is when we all, not just anybody in particular, all, including me, we get probably a little bit too passionate, a little bit too personal. And then on top of that, the kind of conversations that you have, I think are better, or topics that you have are better for panels where it's more than just 4 or 5 people talking, because it's really just a circular argument unless we're going to get new opinions at this point. Because I know I've said my talking points, you said your talking points. Me, you, Logic, Mujasi, C-Dot, appreciate you. King J, appreciate you. Fetty, appreciate you. But some of these, it gets a little circular because we're just listening to about 5 worldviews on a topic, on a worldly topic per se.
Cuban brought the most diverse opinion on it, and y'all didn't listen. And
no, I tried to, but he started talking about the freedom of the trees, and I hate to say it. Listen to me, and I'll be honest with you. Maybe y'all won't. I'll be honest. As soon as he said freedom of the trees, after I was talking, I just checked out because I didn't want. Sometimes in these arguments, you say we had these conversations, and you'll be making a point, right? And then somebody will come behind it with their point, but it'll begin to it'll fuck up. You know what I'm saying? It'll begin to kind of sound like your point. That's why sometimes when I'm giving my point, I just want to finish my shit and get out so that y'all can talk about it. He started talking about trees after I did it, so I just immediately got out of there. But I understood the tree argument when he started talking about a koala. If you move the koala here from Australia, is it Western civilization or is it still in Australian? I got that. But we a bunch of assholes too. As soon as you start talking about koalas and trees and shit, niggas is gonna throw tomatoes first before they try to really hear. My tomatoes is silent. If I leave, I don't give a fuck what you talking about most times. Because I just been trying to cut you out.
I thought it was a great point. And niggas threw tomatoes and keeping for that shit. But yeah, I thought it was a great point.
No, I know, but I left because I didn't want to throw tomatoes and hear Mujasi say an hour later, man, he made a good point.
I still don't get it though.
Yeah. And Mujasi, I'm trying to be a better man, Mujasi. I'm trying. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm trying as hard as I can, Pauls, to be a better man. But these Negroes keep dragging me back in. They keep dragging me.
Let me ask you something. I'm glad I finally. Oh, my bad. I'm gonna shut up.
Go ahead, Tuck.
Hey, Chef, do the people that got kidnapped count as Western society, or do the people that got kidnapped and brought over here count when you make the point about the West? That's what I want to ask.
Yeah, we count as a part of Western society. We did.
So you didn't get the koala thing. You didn't understand that, and the reason why he said it.
No, I told you I ain't get that shit. Like,
that's why he said it.
He said it so I wouldn't get it?
No, he said it because.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
we the damn koala, Chef.
Oh, okay.
Metaphor, yeah. He was trying to explain the collective identity repositioning of Black folks, Africans in America, and I understood deeply his what he was talking about with environmental policy. I think it's an abstract. What he was trying to ground was an abstract idea about exploiting different formats and how capitalism in that way always is usurping resources, even when we're looking at human subjects. But there was a method to his madness, and I understood it immediately when he went in that direction. But I can see how if you don't have that context of how capitalism works on a system standard colonization, it would throw you off. So I could definitely see how it could throw you off. But I understood. I think Cuban made a good point on that. Real quickly, Brad, check your inbox real quick. I just got to ask you a question.
Okay, no problem. Also,
Hey,
now, wasn't there, is Cuban in here? Because wasn't there like a property component to what he was talking about too, in regards to the koala? That there was also that they were property. So it wasn't necessarily like a you know, like a rights thing, but that's what I got. But yeah, I'll check my inbox. Which one is it? This one or because I can't check I can't check my actual one because that's live. If I check it, it'll kick the stream offline.
So
and I
this
don't want nobody
call
to see my inbox.
I got one question for Chef. Just throw it in. I don't want to jump in, y'all.
Go ahead.
All right. Chef, to get some further clarity on liberation, would you consider liberation as freedom from your oppressor or just freedom in general?
It would be
Good
freedom
question.
within, it would be freedom within that society. Right now, and the reason why I say that is because when we were free or when we were liberated, I'm gonna use both. We was free to go wherever we wanted to go. So if we didn't want to live in this society no more, we had the freedom to leave. So if you choose to stay, then you are agreeing to the freedoms or the restriction thereof of freedoms in that society. But you can do whatever you want. You can leave. You can go back to Africa if you want. You feel me? Or you can stay here. And I'm saying now, right? The freedom is subjective to the system that you're under. Do y'all agree? So here in the United States,
terrible. No, that's terrible.
No, listen. Just listen.
I understand you, but
if the white man if we say that we were oppressed and white America was free, then what was the things that was making white Americans free and us oppressed? It was the laws, right? It was the fact that we didn't have full citizenship. But once Jim Crow was lifted and we got full citizenship, then that means that we're just as free as anybody else in that nation. Freedom is subjective to where you're at, to what society you're in. So we're just as free as anybody else in this society. Now you might say, well, I still can't do this. You know, well, any society going to have to put limits and restrictions on people to some degree because you're living in a civil society. You just can't do whatever you want to do, right? You got to succumb to some form of law and governance. So I don't even understand y'all definition.
Would you agree? One more question to follow up. Just a follow-up question, real quick. Okay. Now, would you agree that I think because I agree with you if you were just using the terminology of freedom, but to use the terminology of liberation, like I said, for me as a Pan-African, you know what I mean, I have a different thought process when it comes to liberation, because liberation looks different for people on the continent than it does, or black people on the continent then I'm assuming that it does here. Right. Because like I said, liberation there means liberation from the oppressors. That means full
colonizer.
Anatomy. I can't even pronounce the damn word, but full control over your own destiny.
Autonomy.
That's what a lot of African nations, autonomy. Yeah. So African nations have been fighting for their true liberation, which is autonomy from their oppressor, which has been the European, the West, the French, the Portuguese, all these other places, right? So can we agree that liberation and freedom would be two different terminologies to use? Because I would agree with you if you just said we have freedom in America. But liberation kind of is like a stress on the word freedom.
Can I read the universal? Can I read the universal Declaration of Human Rights?
They synonyms, right? It's synonymous. Liberation and freedom is synonymous.
Can I read the Universal Declaration of Human Rights?
Sure.
It says all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. This implies that freedom is an inherent condition of human existence, not a privilege granted by a state or authority. The rights, it said we have inalienable rights and universal rights. The rights of life, liberty, and security are considered universal and inalienable, meaning they cannot be legitimately taken away.
Is that French, right?
Huh?
Is that French?
That's not John Jacques. That's not John Jacques, the social contract. No, that's just the Declaration of Human Rights. That's human. We're human beings. That's also like when a brother asked about, was I born liberated? Yes. What? Shit. Like, what are you talking about?
Look, so Chef, I tell you what, man, Chef,
That was good.
Chef is great at starting good conversations, man. I tell you what. And Corey, you see why you can't beat Corey and Chef and stuff, right? Is because Corey can see other people's position and state it back to them and see the benefits of what they're saying, or the negatives or the positives. And that's what this conversation seems like. Everybody kind of came, even Brass is saying now he kind of has a little bit more of a nuanced understanding to a degree from this conversation. I agree with what Chef just said, that the law is what's important, in the sense that that's what gave you the rights and stuff we have in America, the freedom, right? Made us more equal than we were in the past. But also, what I don't agree with is enforcement. You need that enforcement mechanism, because the law can say whatever, but if it's not enforced, which I think some of the other brothers, I think that's kind of what they're saying, that yeah, you have certain rights or freedoms or whatever, but sometimes it's not enforced, or the way it's applied, you still get denied for loans or whatever at higher rates and stuff like that. So I think you can't lose that either,
Yeah, it's no segregation. It's no segregation, but we could redline you into these neighborhoods and still control where you live. We just call it redline.
Right. Or not fund your schools at adequate levels. And the thing is, you can't really.
There's no slave code. We just call it the 94 crime bill.
Or something like that, right. But at the same time,
you can sue. If that shit is true, you can sue against all of that.
Yeah, the court system the court system been giving black people a fair shake forever, right?
No,
that's true too.
But if you get redlined in 2025, you can sue a financial institution for that. What are you?
Yeah, but
I'm trying to figure out.
That's hilarious. Boy, I want to live in this world that you live in.
What Stu P said
I want to move there.
Important. What Stu P's mentioned is super important too. You got to stay vigilant, because human beings made these laws and they can enforce or break these laws. Corey even mentioned it. You see kind of what's happening now.
Yo,
Can
I add something to the conversation? A declaration is not a law. It's
That's
just a
true
document that serves as the foundation for countries that want to write laws. But
there might be a law based on that declaration too. There might be laws based on the declaration.
Human rights is not a law. That's why it doesn't have no legal binding. It's just not.
Yeah, but it goes to the mindset of the West.
It
goes to the mindset that they were describing. That they were describing, free with their understanding of humanity and the rights that humanity that's inalienable to human beings. And that's one of my points. I'm trying to figure out when did the rest of the world come to these conclusions? When did the rest of the world come to these conclusions?
When did the U.S. sign it? Hold on,
it doesn't matter.
Yes, it does.
I'm talking about their
when did they sign it? Just tell me. You or King J?
I'm talking about their philosophy.
No. That's fine. You or King J?
That's a whole nother argument.
You or King J? Tell me when the U.S. signed the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. When did they sign it?
What? They never signed it. Why would they?
Yes, they did. No, they did. The U.S. did sign it. When? The key is when they signed it.
I have no idea.
Go ahead, King J. You read it to us.
It says
when did the U.S. sign it?
It says no, they did not sign it.
The U.S. signed it, but still had Jim Crow, 1948. So when the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So while you're talking, I'm not done. I'm not done. So when the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, these ideals that you read to us before, that's 1948.
Mm-hmm.
We still had Jim Crow, lynchings, mass incarcerations. It promised economic rights, housing, education, and fair wages. So when you're saying, and one, I agree fully with anathema, that is aspirational, but definitely not nothing binding, and it sounds amazing. But I find it funny that we're using this against African Americans in the United States when it was drafted in 1948 and we were still in Jim Crow.
And
so you can aspire and tell us whatever you think about human rights. Your practice is what matters. You can say whatever you want. You can believe whatever you want. If you go over there or go, let's say it was signed in France, or they was talking about it as the Universal Declaration and the United States is fully behind it. When they got off the plane in the United States, Jim Crow was still in effect for Black people.
So where we at now? So where we at now?
No, I'm just talking about the human rights. That's all I wanted to talk about. That declaration. I don't want to talk about nothing else.
Have we arrived at it yet?
Yes.
Brass, have we arrived at it yet?
You'll never arrive at it.
We've always arrived. It's always been there. They just imposed on it a little bit.
You'll never arrive at it 100%. You might be better off now than say 100 years ago, 200 years ago in a lot of ways, but you're never going to get there 100%. And that's where I agree with Stu P. Stu P is saying you got to stay vigilant, because remember, we got freedom of speech. And guys say I like to go off on these tangents, but I'm showing you how laws need enforcement.
About freedom of speech.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm showing. Laws need enforcement. The law can say whatever it wants, but if the people that have the power to enforce the law
Jimmy Kimmel can say whatever the hell he want to say.
Right.
No,
Jimmy Kimmel can say whatever the hell he want to say.
Not and keep his job. No, he can't.
Exactly.
That's a private company. Are y'all
No,
serious?
FCC.
No, because
the FCC, his private company didn't say shit. It was the FCC that started the hubbub. That's federal. That's not a private company. ABC didn't say shit.
The FCC. So you saying the FCC fired Jimmy Kimmel and then told him he got to pay money to
no.
Leave him on this one, Chef. They're infringing they're infringing on the freedom of speech with this. Everybody should be out in rage, whether this a white man or not. Right? Every U.S. citizen should be up in arms over it. Right now,
you can't. But
we're talking about the FCC here. Not
let that man finish his federal government. Why y'all itching to talk too much? Let the man finish talking.
Everybody cut me off.
I know. That's cool.
No, I just wanted Chevron to know that we're the Trump administration is trampling on the First Amendment. You see what I'm saying? And this is no joke. Every U.S. citizen, I don't care what your ideology is, bro. You should be up in arms about it. Period. That's period, point blank.
Max the question, where did he see it?
What?
I'm about to look it up.
I can give He said it on his monologue on the Jimmy Kimmel show on ABC. And when it was done, there was no issue until the head of the FCC came out and threatened. Where did
he see it? Because the FCC.
Bro, if you listen to what he said,
but you don't have free speech in a private company. That's been decided.
No, but what we're saying.
That's what I was saying.
What we're saying, anathema, is that it wasn't the company.
It wasn't the correct.
It wasn't the company.
I know. That's why I want to know what he said, because the FCC only have jurisdiction over.
He didn't say nothing.
No, he didn't say anything that violated the FCC.
It wasn't saying.
It wasn't something that violated the FCC.
Because the thing is,
every president, even when Biden was there, they used to make jokes on Biden all the time. They made jokes at every president and nobody else. And guess what? After it happens, he tweets out, "Oh, the guy has no talent. His ratings are low," and he's been tweeting all that since earlier this year about
It
found that needs to
says
go.
this is
But it has to do.
no. This is what he said. This is what he said. This is what he said. He
Thanks for
said,
reading it, bro.
"We hit some new lows over the weekend. The MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Shirley Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism, but on a human level, you could see how hard the president is taking this." And then it goes,
Yes.
and then it goes,
He plays the clip.
When he played a clip, then the clip cut into Kimmel's broadcast showing Trump taking questions from reporters after the shooting, one of which offered their condolences for the death of the president's friend. When asked how he was holding up, Trump replied, "I think very good. And by the way, right there where you see all the trucks, they just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House." The cameras then cut back to Kimmel, and he says, "Yes, the president is at the fourth stage of grief, construction." He says, "Demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish." Then he claimed Trump's seemingly nonchalant comments didn't happen just once. He started talking about when I heard it, I was he said that Trump said, hold on. Okay, he says, Trump says, "When I heard it, I was in the midst of, building a great ballroom. For 150 years, they wanted a ballroom at the White House. They don't have a ballroom. They have to use the tents on the lawn for the President Z when he comes over. If it rains, it's a wipeout." So then Jimmy Kimmel says, "There's something wrong with him. There really is. We installed the most beautiful chandelier, sconces like you wouldn't believe. Why are we building a $200 million ballroom in the White House? Is it possible he's doing it intentionally so we can be mad about that instead of the Epstein list? By the time he's out of office, the White House will have slot machines and a water slide." That's what they're, and then right after that, the ABC didn't say anything. But right after that, the FCC chairman came out and said that his comments were irreprehensible and that there will be regulatory suspensions coming from them if there isn't an apology. And then the two largest people that carry the ABC syndicated shows, one of them said that he has to donate to the Charlie Kirk family and donate to Turning Point and an apology, or they're going to suspend showing ABC on their networks. And then the other one just said he needs to make an apology, and then ABC suspended him indefinitely. So that's the turn of events. But it started
ABC
with
suspended him. ABC suspended him.
ABC.
They all
suspended
said the FCC did it.
That's not what we said. You
They
didn't
did.
listen.
Yes, y'all did. Yes, y'all did.
Listen to the
said
phone.
the FCC
No,
did
we
it.
didn't. We
Yes,
said
y'all
that
did.
Chef, it doesn't matter.
Censorship. If they are censored.
Chef, it doesn't
after
matter.
he was done talking, after he did his monologue, I said ABC didn't say anything. The first critiques came from the FCC chairman. That's a federal. He's the one that said that the comments were the worst he's ever seen, essentially, or heard on TV. And then he threatened regulatory fines. He didn't actually do anything. He just made a statement. Then the other two
I heard
came
y'all
out.
say.
Whatever. If you just want to stay on that, go ahead, bro.
I asked specifically, did the F, and y'all said that it was the FCC and it was
censorship.
Chef,
right, it was censorship.
Listen,
it doesn't matter.
The people,
it doesn't matter if we said the FCC or not. In
yes,
reality,
it does.
the people.
You got to be able
that's
to
very
read
important.
between the
That's
lines.
very important.
You got to be able
There
to
are
read
companies
between the
who
lines.
own the censorship, and when the companies
when the companies that own
They weren't going to that they were upset about what was said by Jimmy Kimmel. They made threats to ABC, saying that they were going, just like he just said. Brad just explained it. They made threats to ABC, which made ABC then go and have to suspend Kimmel. So the FCC and the censorship board is the ones who actually got
No, they
Kimmel
did.
suspended. That's
No,
why
they
he's not
did.
Look,
fired.
Chef,
They
the
did
bottom
to
line,
get him suspended because
the
ABC didn't want the
ABC
repercussions
Hey, see
of
that.
the
Hey, see that. See
FCC
that.
to
See
come
that.
on to them.
Hey, see that. He
Said,
can't
I'm
hear
not
you.
listening to y'all.
Yeah, he can't hear you. Don't listen. Don't use no point. He can't hear you.
Chef, the bottom line is, Chef, the bottom line is he's been threatening this dude since July and before this year. He's tweeted, there's a
Who been
website you can go
threatening
on.
them?
The
Watch Roland
president,
Martin, Chef.
the president been threatening
Who
the
threatened Jimmy Kimmel?
president. The president been
Oh,
talking crap
Trump
about
been
this dude
threatening. Okay.
from the beginning. Listen, you got to
Um,
be able to read between the lines. You can't wait for stuff to be spelled out to you. And that's why I said yesterday, politics. That's why I said yesterday, you cannot discount the state. The state is that's why I say politics is the biggest thing that affects your life. It's the number one thing. And you know how you can prove how much power you got as a president? Or especially if you're willing to wield it like our current president wielded it. When he won, the richest
y'all
guy
are
in the world,
exhausting. You know
the,
that
the,
y'all are
the,
exhausting.
the richest guy in the world, and
You're
all the
calling
big,
us exhausting?
Yes,
all
y'all
the
are exhausting, yo.
the richest guy in the world and all the big tech CEOs went down to
It's
his home.
conspiracy after conspiracy.
So
But it's not.
I
It's not a
can't keep
conspiracy
fighting
though.
y'all on this shit, man.
It's literally reported, bro. Like Roland Martin did a whole show on it. I think this morning or yesterday.
No. AC dot. So just so we're clear, right? So I said, so to directly answer your question, did ABC say anything before the FCC spoke? No.
No.
The ABC didn't publicly commit to suspending the show before the federal, the FCC chair's criticism. The first quote came from the first. No, it wasn't. It was a threat. Also, it was a threat.
Okay.
Hold on. Stay right there. Hold on. How the suspension actually came about? After Kimmel's comments, ABC did not say anything. FCC Chair Brendan Carr warned ABC, Disney, and affiliates that there could be regulatory. There could be there could be regulatory consequences if they didn't address what he called Jimmy Kimmel's misleading content. He suggested that those actions will include examining ABC and Disney's broadcast licenses. Following that, major ABC affiliates, notably Nexstar and Sinclair, announced that they would stop airing Jimmy Kimmel Live on their stations. They cited the contents of his remarks and Brendan Carr's statements as offensive and inconsistent with their community standards. Then and only then did ABC Disney suspend the show indefinitely. That's ABC's own decision, like Chef saying, not a direct FCC order. It says why it matters that FCC didn't formally suspend them. The FCC doesn't directly cancel broadcasts or shows. However, its power is more about licensing, regulation, and oversight. Saying we might review your license is different from issuing a shutdown, but it will cause a business corporate decision influenced by political pressure, regulatory threats, and backlash. But that doesn't equate correctly to the government or FCC legally suspending them. So Chef is correct.
Thank you.
Right.
But
he's
the
somewhat
threat
correct.
and the threat and the power is still there. But as far as legality and technically, it was ABC that caved to that pressure who finally suspended them. ABC, that was ABC and Disney.
And it was mainly because of the licensing. The people that own the licensing, they actually went on a podcast and was talking about these threats. They were talking about the fact that they were going to require Kimmel to actually apologize and do all the stuff that Brad's talking about. They got on a podcast and said that they didn't just like put this up in art or tell the news or something. No, they got on a podcast and said it out loud. Like, this is what we're going to require. Otherwise, we're going to snatch their license. because ABC doesn't own the license. These people do. These other white corporations own the licensing. So without them giving permission to ABC, then ABC can't do anything anyway because they're using these people's licensing.
Yeah, and the FCC regulates the whole thing.
And
So
he didn't
their
even
threat,
say nothing crazy.
their
And
threat,
if
yeah,
he
their
can do
threat.
that, if they can do that to a company as big as a Disney, that means all of us are screwed.
Yeah,
On that.
those companies, yeah, but ABC and Disney ain't no. Let me tell y'all something. If a motherfucker tell you, that's like y'all, we all talk about business owners and this, that, and the other. You could think however much money, what my man say, he was a tattoo guy, whatever. Let the head of the health department. You could say, hey, motherfucker, I'm free, nigga. It's a free world, this and other. Let the health department show up and say, keep talking shit. We're gonna come through this bitch and with a fine tooth comb.
Find something.
We're gonna run through this bitch with the white. We're gonna give you the white in the restaurants. For those that ain't, if you're in the restaurant business, you'll know what I mean. There's the white glove. We're gonna run through this bitch with the white glove treatment. Basically, give you some shit you can't possibly pass.
Yep.
And that's that's a threat. But Chef is technically correct because the FCC can't cancel somebody, but they can definitely threaten them. So that way we can move away from conspiracy and at least go into legality.
Yeah, they can take away your licensing. Like that's the whole point of the whole thing is that the licensing people are the ones who are threatening him. It wasn't even the ABC or the FCC. It was actually the licensors. So if the licensors say, "Well, we're not gonna go forward with licensing you to keep putting your product up," then they just can't. So ABC had to make a rough decision. Like, okay, well, he's not gonna apologize, so we just gonna go ahead and suspend the man and hope y'all cool with that.
And I don't even think it's a tough decision, see that?
Because
no matter
how powerful, universities too.
No matter how powerful a motherfucker is, if you from Jersey, I keep saying it, Don Imus was the GOAT. Don Imus was the motherfucking the greatest thing to ever happen to radio at the time. Probably the second most powerful person besides Howard Stern, and he might have been more powerful than Howard Stern. As soon as that motherfucker said nappy headed Negroes, all his power went out the window.
Nappy headed hoes.
Yeah, nappy headed hoes.
Who fired him though? Who got him off the air?
There was the FCC. The FCC got involved also, and they were
Really?
talking about this, that, and the other. And then the sponsors for the radio station, and he wouldn't apologize. They made that motherfucker comfortably retire.
The FCC threatened to remove licensing, and
you can't say no shit like that. No, not only that. The college, what's the dude? Brand, I think that's his name, the guy that was in charge of college sports. He said, we just won't let y'all show any basketball games at all.
I wouldn't agree with threatening Don Imus for saying that from the FCC. Now, if your people that watch your show want to say, I'm not going to support, I don't know if I'd agree with the FCC doing what they did with Don Imus. I don't know. Do you guys agree with that?
Wait, wouldn't matter. Female basketball players, nappy-headed hoes?
Let me ask you a question. Was that against FCC rules or something?
I
mean, it's inflammatory. I'm not saying it's not.
That ain't commentary. That's racist as fuck.
No, he said it's inflammatory.
I see. Well, if but
if you're watching a basketball game, let's say you watching the Lakers and the Knicks, and Reggie Miller on TNT say, no, not Reggie Miller, Ernie Johnson on TNT say, look at them protruding mandibular, long leg, big lip niggas shooting threes.
With the fucking 2C head.
I don't think the FCC need to get involved. I mean, shit. Like we should know.
Okay, so AI is saying the FCC didn't get involved in Don Imus stuff.
Right.
Saying the FCC did not formally threaten Don Imus with penalties or action over his 2007 racist remarks. I'm gonna read it.
How did he get off
racist action? I'm gonna read it here. Penalties or action over his 2007.
You gotta read it. We got the original point. What I'm saying to you has been, how did he get off? It's a separate question. How did he get off air? And I'm gonna ask you a question before you answer that. It sounds like you don't have a problem with him saying nappy-headed hoes.
No. I have a big problem with him saying it.
Right.
But I think that the FCC, to me, it's kind of hard. It's a governmental body, and the First Amendment for freedom of speech says that the government cannot infringe on your rights of speech, right? And so And so you're going to hear all kinds of wild speech. And I don't know if I'm not saying I'm right. I could be wrong on the way I'm thinking about it. I just don't know if I would respect the government.
They're saying that Don Imus, even though he's regulated, Don Imus is definitely regulated by the FCC. Yes. But in this case, it says
the public.
His outrage was public, civil, advertisers, and politicians.
Yes, exactly.
So Staples,
and that's what drove him off.
Yeah. Staples, Procter and Gamble, General Motors pulled out. MSNBC canceled the Imus in the Morning show.
Right.
And it was corporate and advertiser pressure.
Right.
The FCC did not step in. Correct.
So this is different than even the Kimmel issue. Because
the
Kimmel issue,
because the Brendan Carr did not step in and say something in regards to this. This was politicians. This was public pressure. This wasn't federal pressure.
Which is what I agree with. You should be able to free relative to say whatever you want based on the First Amendment. The government should infringe your speech, but everybody that's listening to you should be able to say, "Hey, look, I'm not going to support this dude anymore." You know.
I don't know if you can say nappy-headed hoes. I don't know if that's protected. Hold on. I don't know if that's protected under the what's the name. But we're getting away from the point. But it's just an interesting conversation.
So there's hate speech laws, maybe, or hate crimes.
Because I
don't know if that would be considered a crime.
I think that would be considered hate speech.
I'm not sure.
I don't know if America has hate speech laws like that. I know Britain.
I'm about to say. Well, it depends on what we're talking about. Because if you're talking about people like Nick Fuentes, who is a white supremacist, he says all type of crazy stuff on YouTube.
Right.
But as far as if he was working for a corporation, ABC, MSNBC, something like that, he would have been fired a long time ago.
You know what? It says
he would have lost money.
It says it is protected for the racism, sexism, and it is protected by free speech.
First Amendment.
Yeah, it is protected. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't think nappy-headed hoes would be hate.
So then, I'm about to
know what I'm
ask
saying?
the question. Then how come if I say I'm gonna kill you? No, let's say no. If I say I hate you, it's no issue. But if I say I hate you, nigga, it's a hate crime.
Yeah, because it got to be because
I think that's if you say I hate. I think that's if you say I hate you N-words in the action, and then you're committing a crime, like you're beating them up or something.
So the crime,
right?
So the word.
I don't even think saying I hate niggas is considered hate speech. Like, I think you'd have to put something behind that, right?
No, because it's hate speech. It's hate actions. It's hate speech.
Yeah, because
anything dealing with race, anything dealing with race, gender, anything dealing with race, gender, ageism are protected. So therefore, you can't make discriminatory comments against those three protected things. So if your speech is directed at hate against those three, then it's going to be considered a hate speech.
Yeah. Okay.
If I hate you, if I just said I hate you, then that's not necessarily hate speech. If I said I hate gays or I hate F words or N words or whatever,
black. So that's hate speech. Okay. Yeah. Okay. My bad. I was wrong.
According to AI, it's saying hate speech is generally not a crime in the U.S. because of the First Amendment.
Not a crime, but we're talking about what would.
It says, however, when hateful speech escalates to illegal acts, such as true threats, incitement or imminent lawless action, or forms of discriminatory harassment, it can become a crime.
I feel like we're away from the comment. I get it.
Yeah, because I think what we're talking about, like not necessarily hate speech, but what y'all were talking about, never mind. Not even gonna make it.
Yeah, I know. In my opinion, like I said, for me, I'm not ceding any ground. We're standing there. If y'all not ceding any ground, that's cool. We're just not going to agree. And I'm not even leaving from my first point. I know we brought up a whole bunch of other points, but I'm with Malcolm X on that. You stick a dagger in my back 9 inches, you can't pull it out 6 and call it progress. You just can't. You can't free me from slavery and talk about all declarations of human rights while Jim Crow is going on in your fucking country. I can't hear you when you do that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. If we're going back there, then I'm with you. I'm with you, Brad. So I've been conceded that. Like I can't.
I've been right there,
Yeah.
right? I've been right there.
Is the Isaac Woodard blinding in 1948, and that whole promotion and publication that galvanized the and other people to start fighting to endorse civil rights, and that's what precipitated the U.S. signing the agreement, and then people started fighting to have those things actually be enforced. And it's like you're obfuscating all of that because you got to remember Jim Crow was legal because of Plessy versus Ferguson. So the separate but equal cause was a legal thing that had to be overcome legally. And then you're discrediting the work of the Thurgood Marshalls and all of them people that was in the United States and inspired by those clauses and held the government and other people to the fire so that we could walk around and do what we are doing now.
And by the way, y'all said that the UN documentation, the UDHR was adopted by the United Nations General Assembly on December 10th, 1948, with a vote of 48 in favor, 0 against, and 8 abstentions. The State Department historical records note that the U.S. has supported the human rights objectives, including the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The Oxford Public International Law confirms the vote count and the fact that the U.S. voted yes. But Anathema's point still remains: it's not law. It's not what it is. Just a declaration. It's not a law.
Just a declaration.
Happened to Isaac Woodard, and when they blinded him, the veteran that came home in D.C. on the elevator, and that put the highlight on this thing that was happening. That was the galvanizing point for the whole civil rights movement. Right. It wasn't the bus thing and all of them something there. And that's when they start strategically planning and setting up things to get cases in out of court to change law.
Right.
That people discredit them about.
And that's why
the strategy that them people was using in the time that they was operating in on some Monday morning quarterbacking. Because we do that too much, I think.
I agree. And that's why when Malcolm X went after that's when Malcolm X stopped talking about black rights and just say that when the United States is doing to us is a violation of human rights. He used that order signed in 48. That's what he was talking about. That when he went to the UN National General Assembly, that's what he was talking about. Y'all talking about these human rights, and y'all still got fucking Jim Crow.
So question, brother. So when the government does impede on our human rights, do we not have the right to resist? I think that's what would be a good example. Would be Martin Luther King.
That's not at all what we talking about.
Martin Luther King, correct? But that's what I'm talking about.
Didn't you say that they didn't sign it though?
But we're talking about the universal human rights that we do have.
But didn't you say they didn't sign it though?
Okay, but we have human rights though in this country.
I'm
based
just
on other laws.
Sometimes when we make these points,
but hold on, brother. Let me make my point. It's not for you to determine what my point is going to be.
You asking me a question.
Yeah, but let's stay on topic. I'm on the topic of what I'm talking about, brother.
But you just said they didn't sign it, though.
Brother. Whether they sign it or not doesn't mean I don't.
It's not important now.
Whether no, I can't talk. Whether they sign it or not does not alleviate the fact that I'm born with universal human rights. That's crazy.
While in Jim Crow,
the signature their signature didn't give me universal human rights.
You said they didn't have a
I'm born with that. But can I get to my point that I'm trying to make? So the point that I'm making is this: when the government does impede on those human rights, right? Do we not have the right to resist?
Yeah, we got the right to resist.
Okay, so I'm actually reading John Locke, right?
No, I'm just trying to obfuscate these. If you was born in the village If you was born in the village, you would not have no universal human rights. It's because of the Western people and their concepts that you even think like that.
I
You
can
wouldn't even
stop.
think
I
like
can
that.
stop
You
me.
was not in and of the Western continent. What are you talking about? Like, how are you saying this, B? So you telling me an indigenous person thinks about universal human rights? No.
You
think
no,
the
thing is anathema.
Village
y'all
oriented
already know
society,
anathema
B.
about to do the
You
concrete
come
thing.
from
Let
this
'em go.
Western society. This is Chevron's point. The whole reason you're using that language is because of what they wrote.
No humans are born not liberated. Okay.
Oh my God. No, man.
Anathema.
The village
Anathema. Let me ask you another question, yo. He derailing us. He derailing us, yo. Let me ask you something else.
I'm quoting John.
Am I making a mistake, right? When I say, like, in order for me to compare something, no, not compare, right? But in order for me to, like, determine that something is either good or bad, like better or
You need
worse,
something to compare it to.
you need something to compare it to. Is there a fallacy in this? Like, am I actually?
No, I get what you're saying. I've got what you were saying from the beginning, Logic. So yeah, you go ahead.
There's a fallacy in it, but we've agreed to disagree.
What's that fallacy though?
But yeah,
I get what he's
we
saying.
just gonna go back into a circle. What is he saying then?
Well, because he does need something to compare it to. Like, what is the standard?
Compare what to? Speak clear, speak plain. Like I just got into the room. In order to do what, you need to compare it to what.
So when Logic was comparing, when he was putting it in reference to liberation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And free. So in other words, what's the standard? How do we? Because we've all agreed that we're not, or at least I have, right? I wouldn't agree that we were liberated or that I think we're still controlled, right? But what is the standard for true liberation or true freedom? Is what Logic's been asking, and I think it's a fair question. Like what are we comparing it to? Like what
So
you know?
what does true liberation look like is what you're asking, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think it's a fair question.
All men are created equal, period, in sentence.
Okay.
Not unless you're locked up. We all have the right to the pursuit. It's slavery ends, not slave codes, Jim Crow, and Reconstruction.
And to give you credit, Brass, I think
you get
said
civil
that
rights,
before.
and I've said that 1,000 times. You get civil rights in 1965, and you also give us the economic rights that you knew you weren't giving us.
Yeah, so I think
you make sure that when you do crime bills, you don't send niggas away for a speck of crack cocaine when another motherfucker could do a kilo of coke and get 5 years before a speck of crack cocaine. I get the motherfucker go in for jail for 30 years.
Mandatory minimum.
We punish both of y'all though. And then also with the protests, right? Because he makes a very good point. But I also do understand that while we have the protected the right to protest, that right to protest, it ain't like you could just walk outside the house and go walk down the street and start shutting shit down. You going to jail. That protest is even that's restricted. You need permits
because
and
the Constitution says essentially.
Hold on, cities require permits for these protests, and then most times push demonstrators in the free speech zones in any city. On top of that, I know y'all remember George Floyd. They allowed them motherfuckers to protest until they didn't. They started locking them motherfuckers up, tear gas, rubber bullets, curfews, and then after 2020, they increased the penalties for blocking traffic and protesting their pipelines. So once again, this is just another case. Now here's the thing: if you retaliate in the workplace, you risk being fired or blacklisted. Because some of those people, they took their faces and sent their faces to their jobs and got them motherfuckers fired. And then on top of that, you can protest, but even that freedom and that liberation is within the boundaries that they set for you under control. You cannot just right now go right outside right now and go block 6th Ave in Times Square. Your ass going to jail. And you can sit up there and talk that all people is born with unalienable human rights. And they're gonna tell your ass, listen, put your thumb right here, grab your nuts and cough. You going to jail, bro. So
basically,
all this freedom that you keep talking about, there's some. Do you have the right to protest? Only where and when they say you can. Because if they tell you can't do it on Friday, your black ass is doing it on next Monday.
Okay.
Whenever
still
they
control
say
mechanism. Yeah, still control mechanism. Yeah.
So basically, you uphold the social critical theory, social construct and critical theory view.
I don't know what you're saying.
There's two views. It's called
Elaborate.
one is called social construct and critical theory, emphasis the powerful and often restrictive role of societal norms and systems and institutions. And then there's the liberal and existentialist thought, focus on the individual's inherent capacity for free will and self-determination. John Locke would be a liberalist and existentialist. He believes that we all are born free, but with chains, right? So in order to what does it actually say? Later
Did you just
theorists.
say John? Did you just say John Locke, like Locke?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And his treaties of
Do
government.
you know he invested in a Royal African company that was trafficking enslaved Africans across the Atlantic?
Here we go.
No, I'm just trying to say.
No, I did not know that. That's a fun Snapple fact for sure. I did not know that.
No,
But,
I'm just trying to. It just reminds me of the same thing that we got to keep in perspective when you call somebody, because I don't think we call them that. I think history calls him the father of liberalism. He does believe all men are born with natural rights, life, liberty, and property, and that governments exist only by the consent of the governed, and if they fail. Okay.
Yeah.
But then it also shows, he says all men are free and equal, but then he helped draft the fundamental constitutions of Carolina, which protected slavery and gave masters absolute power and authority over enslaved Africans. So while he wrote about liberty, he excluded entire groups, Africans, indigenous peoples, the poor, from those rights. Locke invested in the Royal African Company, which trafficked enslaved Africans across the Atlantic. Now go ahead and keep telling me how he's the father of liberalism.
Right. So, but I just want to. I just want to read the.
No, West Side. Sometimes you gotta let shit breathe, my nigga.
All right, go ahead, bud.
Okay, and so you're
when Jay-Z say allow me to reintroduce myself, you gotta let it breathe.
Yeah, so you're upholding
you keep quoting that man though.
The social construct and critical theory view. That's the opposing view.
John Locke though. Why you keep quoting him?
We're not worshiping the person. We're talking about his theory. Okay, this is his theory.
Why? How can I listen to his theory, but if in practice? No, seriously, that's a serious question.
Because
why would I listen to his
that's
theory?
The thing. You can't look at
his.
I don't think you can look at human beings as perfect, bro.
No,
you can always be wrong.
No. I'm not looking at him as perfect. I'm saying I understand that when Thomas Jefferson said all men are created equal, outside in his backyard, he had 600 slaves.
Yes, but yet still MLK and them use that same document.
That ain't perfect.
Yeah, but MLK and them use that same document to say that, hey, you guys said all men are created equal, you're not living up to it.
Right.
And use that same document to change the laws.
That's a better point.
How is that the same?
Made right there.
How is that the same?
It's a better point. Because he used the
same.
Because he used the same document that you said was created by this person, this racist person, right? He used it.
I'm saying. No, I understand. No, listen to me. I'm not saying his document is flawed. I'm just saying which document am I supposed to listen to? The Constitution he wrote for South Carolina that said African people, indigenous people should still be slaves, and in the same voice, it's listen. You wasn't here for this, King J. So let's be clear. I'm not ever saying that they haven't done something, did an act, wrote a document, talked some shit, and called it liberation. I'm just saying that while they were doing it or writing it, they either put us into a different form of slavery or oppression, while saying and doing something completely opposite, bro. So I'm not. Maybe I'm not talking. The reason why this seems confusing to you is because you probably wasn't here when I said that. But my point is, while John Locke, on one hand, is the document that we use to get out, right? So right now, this is the crux of our argument. John Locke. He is literally what Chef is talking about.
Have a good one.
We would call Locke a champion of human rights and a liberator. But in the same vein, we would look past the fact that he invested in the Royal African Trading Company and wrote a constitution in South Carolina to make sure that the ability for them to have slaves was protected. So I'm trying to, it's very difficult for me to look at him as a liberator. When I look at his actions.
From yesterday, I was
Before
not.
You give me a counterpoint, do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying. You're not looking at the liberators because they did some effed up shit.
During the time they were. You keep minimizing it. Don't minimize it. Say what he did. Westside.
Okay, they had slaves. Thomas Jefferson had slaves. Washington had slaves. All this stuff. I get your point. I get your point. What you got to do, though, is let's say you were building a society right now, right? Could you take that document, that idea, and build a society without all that stuff that works and functions well? Like so many societies have done.
If all men are created equal,
yes.
If all men, if we could remove these biases and remove the hypocrisies of all men being created equal, and actually say all men are created equal, I think any one of us could build a society in and amongst that, and then we'd have what King J is talking about. That when you are born, you're born with inalienable human rights. That you can get up and just go protest. You can get up and do whatever it is that you want to do in this world. Like King J makes an amazing point. It's just most people don't understand the minutia. You cannot go live. I want y'all all to hit the lottery and go try to live wherever you want to live. You can't do it. We talk about business owners. I'm in realty. Your money does not determine 100%. If there are neighborhoods that no matter how much fucking money you make, white, black, or otherwise, you ain't moving there with them. And they'll make it happen. Ask Sylvester Stallone and them when they tried to move with that new Hollywood money, tried to move. Now we're going to talk about some white rich people good problems, or European good people good problems, or just black, rich people problems.
Let's go.
They can't just go live wherever the fuck they want to live, bro. They will do petitions. They'll shut that shit down. So this ain't just a black thing. I'm not only talking about, we're talking about human rights. So yes, they redline us, but I'm tired of talking about it. Ask a motherfucker that's rich, can he just go buy a house anywhere where you want to live? And that's not true.
Right.
That's not true. Not in these United States. They'll gate that fucking community. They'll write a petition that you can't live there. They'll do all kind of shit. Why do you think they have HOAs and shit that determine that kind of shit? Like that's not reality. You can't just go and do whatever the fuck it is that you want to do. Now you can go do it. You can go try. You have the freedom to try and be a American citizen, but it's still gonna be determined by some people outside of your power, and color and money don't got nothing to do with it. So I understand King J. I completely do. But if King J if he protested during George Floyd, in King J's face, they were able to pull that shit off of a drone, and they sent that to the health board or whatever city that he's in. That health board can most certainly come in that motherfucker and shut him down. Yep. You gone.
But that's the thing, Brass. Because you have a right, because the argument people make that rights also have responsibilities, right? A right comes with a responsibility, right?
True.
And
King J should be able to protest. He shouldn't have to worry about it.
Things aren't 100%, right? It's not 100%.
King J, but I'm not looking for 100%. King J should be able to protest without having to worry about losing his motherfucking profession.
And this is the other thing. Now, That is true. I agree with that. And the other thing is, the First Amendment says that you have the right to peaceably protest, right? And so if you're committing a crime while protesting, that's another thing. But you can really go on any corner pretty much and just stand with a plaque, and that's protesting.
No,
You see what I'm
you
saying?
can't.
Bro, I just seen it the other day. You can go walk across the street, stand on a
You don't
corner,
no,
as long
bro.
as you're not blocking traffic or something
You
like
can't.
that.
You
You can
don't own
stand there.
you know what a cop will tell you in a heartbeat. I don't know where y'all from, but I know where I'm from. A cop in a heartbeat. Because remember, I do this. I do this, bro. The mayor. Ask Ross Baraka, the mayor of Newark, who got arrested trying to go into an ICE facility in the city that he governed.
I saw that video, but I'm saying that you're living in. Right now, we're living in a different paradigm in a sense, right? If it was a different government running the thing, maybe he could have stood there and do whatever. It wouldn't have been as detrimental. You know what I mean? But now we're living in a different paradigm because you have people that don't care about some of these laws and these
The
rules. They just
mayor
wanted to do what they
can't
want to do.
go somewhere
Yeah,
in his
no.
own
Hey, West
city,
Side, West
bro.
Side, West Side. When they in
Did you
17,
hear what he
you
just
go
said?
backwards to 1776, so you can go to today in 2025. Even when they wrote in 1776 that all men was created equal, that ain't nothing but Western liberty, because it's not a universal thing. Liberty,
But
when we're
remember,
talking about
okay,
some
let's do
universal.
this. Let me ask you a question. Let's do this. Let's not think of how black people were affected at that time and the hypocrisy dealing with black folks. What about the hypocrisy dealing with even white folks at that time? All men are created equal, but yet still all men couldn't vote at that time. You see what I'm saying?
I'm about to be kind of ignorant, but I'm just not gonna curse. I don't have the energy to be concerned about white people in 1776. I just don't. No, I mean, I know you want to. I know what you're trying to do, and I don't have a problem with that. But it's kind of like me feeling bad for Charlie Kirk right now.
No,
Like,
it's
I
not.
don't really. Yeah,
It's
I
not
can't.
saying feeling bad. It's
Okay.
just to show that when you're dealing with human beings, hypocrisy always exists. You cannot get away from it. You can't. That's how I've thought about it, and I don't know if someone can help me and find a situation where human beings are not hypocritical. I can't find it.
I get what you're
A
saying,
part of
bro.
being human is being hypocritical. Now, I feel like by identifying that you're hypocritical, right? Hopefully, it gets you to think differently and realize when you're being hypocritical and adjust your actions to suit
But you're talking
faster.
about Pete. You're still. One thing I've tried not to do on this West Side, and I'm not trying to just defeat your point. I'm listening to you, but one of the things that I can't do in this conversation is I don't want to start talking about people, because once we start talking about people and humans, we're talking about evolution, and we're 99.9% the same. So we can't believe certain things. That's why I stated structures and systems and institutions. Those same structures and systems and institutions in 1776 are the same damn near structures and institutions that we're dealing with in 2025. Structure,
And that
systems,
is
and institutions.
and
So
that is true.
so even if you feel a certain way, or if humans want to change a certain way, those humans, it's very difficult for a person to fight structure, systems, and institutions. That's why as soon as y'all started talking about white people, I left the conversation. Because
and that's a good way to do it.
White people have to be now. They're calling us inherently savage, and I'd have to fight them. I'd have to say that they're wrong, that we're not inherently savage, while also somehow saying that they are. And then
that's also
using the evolution of humans for me, but then trying to use it against them. So I'm trying not to talk about people. So when we bring up Western civilization, we're not just talking about Europeans, because y'all said it yourself. If that were not you, but their argument is that black people those Haitians would be considered Western civilization. All of it is Western civilization, whether they brought you here or not. That's their argument. So it's not people. This is structures, systems. You can fight people, most certainly. But if you do go stand out on that sidewalk, like you said you could do, now I want you to go to Times Square and stand on the sidewalk with a sign that says, fuck white people.
You can do it.
No, you can't.
I think you can do it.
No, you can't.
So check
You
it
might
out.
not want to do it, but I think you can do it.
No.
I mean,
Let's say
I could be wrong.
NYPD, the NYPD will walk right up to you and say, "This is a public sidewalk." They'll pull that motherfucking sign down, bro. Or
I don't.
No,
at
the
the
Hebrew
threat of
Israelites
someone.
out there protesting and talking all kinds of wild
Yeah,
stuff.
but they got
DC
licenses.
and all
No.
over.
Listen. I'm
They got
familiar with the
501
Hebrew Israelites. They got licenses and they get told where to go. They don't just wake up and set up shop.
Right.
Well, even then, I mean, they're still out there.
And sometimes they tell them motherfuckers they can't use megaphones. I've seen it in Times Square because the sound travels too far.
Hold on. While I got it in my head,
but they're still out there.
Yeah. While I got
By
this thought in my
permission
head.
of the people they're talking about. The same government that they're talking about, the same white people that they fucking hate, they got to go get the permission from in order to do it so they can tell them when and where to be able to do it. And trust me, if the NYPD want them motherfuckers gone, they gone.
So let me ask you a question.
So that ain't. Yeah. Right.
Let me ask you a
Hold on.
question.
Hold on. Let King J get in.
Real quick. Because
Anybody
I don't
else
think
available? I can't keep talking about this all day. I got.
You good. I don't think that like adhering to society's laws is like appearing taken from your personal liberties. Like if it's a stop sign, I'm gonna stop at the stop sign.
Right.
But I wanted to go back to what he was talking about earlier because he tried to. He said I couldn't use lock, but he's still taking.
I didn't say you couldn't use lock.
I want to use lock because are you using Hobbs?
No, I didn't tell you not to use lock. You can use it. I wouldn't tell you not to.
But the reason you said was because of his racism. But I kind of just think that was kind of like the time period, like the mood of the time. Because, like I said, if we Thomas Hobbes was the other theory, right? The viewpoint that you're standing on now, which basically
what is it? Spell it out so I can just know what it is.
Thomas Hobbes.
Thomas
H-O-B-B-S.
Hobbes. Is that what you're saying? H-O-B-B-S?
Yeah, he's the father of philosophy, political philosophy. Like you said, Hobbes was the founder of liberalism. Mm-hmm. So those were the two, going back at it, at each other back then. But they both were racist.
Yeah.
They both were racist. So it's like that just was the the mood of the environment of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the philosophy. So you're taking a point now that Hobbes created back then, was that basically you do have personal freedoms, but let me read what he said.
No, Thomas Hobbes. I just didn't know you kept. Thomas Hobbes is liberty while supporting slavery. You can't have universal liberty while supporting slavery empire. So he's basically saying you're not free, you can't be free, and that order requires your obedience.
Conform to this exactly. So that's you don't have a problem with that, would do you?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah.
Because how does
what
that
happens? Because what it does, I'm gonna say it, because it justifies absolute state power, and then the resistance that you was talking about earlier, there's no room for it.
Mm-hmm.
Even if the person that is oppressive, basically what Hobbes is saying is that you're not free, you can't be free, and in order for us to keep order, you have to be obedient. But the problem is that's assuming that the sovereign power at the time is good.
Right.
If the sovereign power at the time is tyrannical, then you don't have any right to resist. If they're good, they're basically saying sovereign power, they'll do right by you, but you got to follow these set of rules and be obedient, which I guess some people that would have matched kind of like US in a way, but that's if the US government is fair to all people. But if you
don't even run a communism type of government,
I kind of think I agree with Hobbes in this way. I think that I think true liberty is probably impossible.
I knew you would agree with Hobbes.
Yeah, I kind of agree with him in that way, that piece of it. I think true liberation, that's why logic's point is very important, trying to find something to compare it to, because I do believe true liberation, it would be kind of difficult to say that they're doing something that's, if we haven't seen it or nothing to compare it to, we're expecting Western civilization to do something that's never been seen. And I can understand that. I do understand that point. I just don't accept it. But I do understand.
Well, then how does Chef not win then overall?
Chef doesn't win because his argument is that they went around sprinkling liberation. My argument is that what he's calling liberation ain't real. They went around with like Corey says, they went around with a can of spray paint.
But even that false bullshit that we think that we have would be the standard, though.
Not necessarily. Well, it would be the standard. It would be the standard that they give you, not the one they write about. The standard,
and not even the ones that they actually uphold themselves in reality.
King J said, yeah, the standard is what King J said. 1948 Universal Declaration of Human Rights. That's the standard. It was passed 48-0, but it wasn't a law, so nobody had to follow it. But that's the standard,
right
there. That's why they did it. Why you think the United Nations they don't play it? They're not playing. They did that for a reason, and people agreed. But while they did it in 1948, niggas was in Jim Crow in Georgia and Alabama.
Right.
While the U.S. is up at the fucking shucking and jiving, talking about this is how all people should be. They've constantly, Chef's argument can never work because you'd have to accept what they're giving you as liberation. And I'm kind of like C-Dot on that point. I don't think I can get my liberation from the motherfucker that enslaved me in the first place.
Yeah, I can't argue with C-Dot.
I think C-Dot.
And think about this also. You can think about this also. I want to just use this as a thought process because America knew what liberation was. That's how we got Liberia in Africa, because they understood what real liberation would be, and that would be us returning to where we could go somewhere and make our own decisions and live life based on our own destiny.
Right.
So they knew what the idea of true liberation was. That's why they had.
You know how else I think they knew, C-Dot? You know how else I think they knew? The 13 colonies. When they got away from
their own shit.
They was able to write their own constitution and able to write their own shit. They know what it's like.
They knew what it was.
Fucking truly free. They know what that shit is like. They know what it. They also know what it takes.
They achieved. Exactly.
The 13 colonies on the what is that? Jamestown, Virginia, 1600s. They know what liberty looks like.
And so
even when they had to take it from somebody else.
And that would kill, and then so Chef would have a problem right there, because it's like, yeah, they knew what it was, and so they came over here and they did it, and then they still kept us fucked up. So like, you know what I'm saying, Chef? Like that's problematic. But you're not trying to make it a white and black thing. So then again, I guess.
But you know what's funny about that?
Yeah,
though?
He's gonna wiggle out of that.
Talking. Give me 1 second, Logic. You know what's funny about that? Smalls and Logic is motherfucking. So we would call that being championing human rights. The Western civilization taking it from the Western civilization.
Right.
That's hilarious. That's the colonies fighting the British. So you can't. America, even at its inception, knows what it is. They just don't give it to no. Yeah, they just didn't give it to nobody. They didn't even give it to poor white people, because some of them amendments say the poor. They put the poor right next to black people.
They chose who to give it to.
Yeah. Hey, I got one quick question, right? And I'm gonna jump down, but I won't. Like, I don't know if maybe it's something that y'all can maybe consider talking about in the future or later on or whatever. But the idea of propaganda. Like, I think that propaganda has been extremely effective for like any successful nation. in order to thrive. Propaganda has probably been at the top of the list in order to uh, progress a nation. So, like, do y'all think that there's any type of way that black people could, study propaganda more in order to create and, possibly take advantage of that whole mindset of creating and spreading our own propaganda?
Oh man, that's a good one.
I know that's way off topic. And that's what I said.
No.
Y'all
It ain't
can talk about later.
That's a thought provoking. Statement. Because my first statement would be, I think propaganda. I think in order for propaganda to be effective, it either needs a groundswell or some kind of power. So I think if we can get a groundswell, yeah, man, that's good. I don't know, bro. That's a good. Thank you, bro.
Let me add to that. Propaganda is not a good tool for black people. Because propaganda is based on lies. Right? They based on ideals. They promote ideals that they believe that everybody that they send to other countries to believe in order for the opposition to believe that this is what occurring in one nation state. Like when the Russians used to have their own propaganda, when they used to say, there's no hunger in Russia.
We can't understand what you're saying, Stupid.
Yeah, you real muffled, Stupid. I want to hear what you're saying too.
Something over your microphone.
Okay, hold on.
Hey, C-Dot, real quick. Do you think that YouTube will be go ahead.
Yeah. Propaganda is not a good tool. Don't go down that road. Because it's an idealistic message to your opposition about what's going on, and even sometimes your people start to believe it. If you look at Rwanda, if you look at Germany, if you look at Russia, even if you look at America, like I was telling Majasi the other day that the 1984 Olympics I was held in Los Angeles was one of America's biggest propaganda, where they sell this thing to the world that everything was good, that equality existed in America, that everybody is equal, and it wasn't true. It wasn't true. It wasn't true. The truth hurts, but the truth is the best thing people can have, not a lie. Because when you had all of those black athletes in America at the Olympics, and all of them was they was pushing up the Flo Joes, and they were pushing up the Carl Lewis, and they was pushing up all of these people, the Sugar Ray Leonard, and they were being used in the Just Say No ads, not realizing that the same Just Say No ads that Nancy Reagan was promoting, her husband was at the same time. The Noriega drugs for gun deal was what was going on. So they're selling you something in front of your face while they're selling a lie in front of your face while doing something else to break it down behind your back. So I don't believe in propaganda use. That's my standard.
But one thing though about that, Stu, because I agree with you about propaganda sometimes does like it you can put truth in propaganda also though, because if you notice like Project 2025 is propaganda, and
no, it's not. How is it propaganda?
I'm that's what I'm saying. I'm gonna give it to you. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a lot of if you read it, it's a lot of fluff in it. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of fluff, which is why a lot of people got fooled. Of course, you know what I mean. A lot of them just wanted to believe that shit. That it was just the fluff parts to it. They didn't want to hear none of the how it actually would affect. You know what I mean? Like different people or whatnot. All they heard was the part that they wanted to hear, that they used to hearing. We hate it. We don't want the legals here. We don't want the transgenders. This, that, and the third. Like it's a propaganda material based on how threatening everybody else is, and the reason why we need to protect this country.
No, so, if you read Project 2025, it's not propaganda. Project 2025 is a doctrine that was being created. Will all of it be fulfilled? No.
with the messaging, was the messaging of Project 2025 done via propaganda? Maybe. But the actual document itself was a doctrine. It wasn't propaganda.
Yeah,
Most
I
people
agree
did
with
not read it.
it can be both though. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Is that the way that it's rendered, it can serve both purposes. It also
No,
serves as propaganda. The
it's
reason it
not
serves as
both.
propaganda is
It's not.
because it's lies inside. It's based off of lies. A lot of it is based off of lies. The
All
DEI
right.
and them talking about wokeness and all of that is based on lies. So it's a
what you're
propaganda
doing? You're convoluting two different things. You're convoluting the doctrine and the way the doctrine is spread. Right? The doctrine was spread via propaganda, but it does not make it less of a doctrine. You have to understand that. Listen,
based on it was
not based on.
It was based on a lie from the jump start. It is based on a lie.
All right. The doctrine is based on a lie, but you're convoluting two different things.
I
Like
like how Steve Please broke it down. I like how you broke. I like how Steve Please just broke that down.
Right, it's doctrine. But how I spread the doctrine, I use propaganda to spread my doctrine. That's normal dictatorship 101 every day. First formulate the doctrine, then use propaganda to spread your doctrine. Some people are not going to believe it because it's too fantastical. Most people didn't believe Project 25, Brass, because Brass couldn't believe that educated people actually think that this thing is real until him realize how they're trying to implement it. Yeah, but it's not propaganda. The doctrine is not propaganda. How they're spreading the doctrine, they're using the tools of propaganda to spread the doctrine. But doctrine and propaganda is two different things. Your doctrine comes first in all things. So if you say black people need to develop their own doctrine, like Brass would say that, the doctrine was to listen, first thing first, we all need to understand money. That would be one of Brass' first thing he put in his doctrine. Understanding of money, how money will work to improve our standing as a black nation, right? The second thing now, Chef would say, we need to eliminate black on black crime, right? The third thing, Corey would say that we need to kill some of these niggers who don't have any sense, and Stupids would second him on that. And the fourth thing now, you say, establish a doctrine first. After you establish a doctrine now, you go throughout the community and you spread the propaganda to say white folks, we're going to use white folks are genetically evil and vicious. That is why we have to use our own doctrine. So that is the propaganda that we're going to spread in order to enhance our doctrine. 2025, Project 2025 is a doctrine. And they use propaganda as a tool to spread it.
I kind of agree with C-Dot now, though, because now what you just said was what C-Dot made sense. If the doctrine, the intent behind it was already evil, you know what I'm saying? Now we're just finding ways to market it to the people. Is it going to be
that is propaganda is marketing? You're right. Propaganda is marketing.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. I'm glad you broke it down. Like I'm not upset with the way you broke it down or none of that, because I agree with you.
First you have to formulate a doctrine. So when we come in this room and sometimes Brass is saying something, Brass not putting it the way because Brass don't like the word doctrine. But Brass want to tell us, listen, we need to formulate our own ideas, put them in writing, and distribute them among ourselves. That's a doctrine. Black people need a doctrine. We don't have a doctrine now in the United States. All of us stand on.
How do you spread?
Based on methods to improve our standings in society.
How do you effectively spread the doctrine? That's
you have to have the doctrine first. We have a doctrine.
I don't know if Brass is still here or not, but that's what Dr. Ben is. Right? Yeah. That's what Francis Cress Wilson is.
Right. You formulate a doctrine first, and then use the propaganda of Francis Cress Wilson to promote your doctrine. Right? So we're going to use all of these tools that we had. Everybody who said the white man is the devil, that was propaganda in order for the NY to sell the doctrine of black solidarity. That's why they use the propaganda of the white man is the devil to sell the doctrine. So the doctrine is integral to your development. Do you have
So
a doctrine?
propaganda can't be that bad. Then. If it works, then it can't be that horrible of a tool.
No,
So
but if you
when you
no,
say we shouldn't use it and it
it is a
works,
no, it
why
is a
shouldn't we
horrible
use something
tool.
that works?
No, it is a horrible tool because if your doctrine is sound, and copacetic, you don't need a lie to sell it. Why would I need a lie of Francis Wilson to say that white people is genetically evil to sell
But
a doctrine that
propaganda
is
is
sound?
not just about. But propaganda is not just about the lie. Like I said, you can add truth into the
Yes,
propaganda.
yes,
The
but it's
propaganda is
but
not
but
just about telling lies. It's actually about.
uh,
It's just about the spread of the information. So when you talk about
no,
things like
no,
Maoism or whatever in China and shit like that, like all that stuff is based on propaganda. All that stuff had to spread through propaganda. So what I'm saying is propaganda can be used effectively in a positive way in order to get people on the same page. That's all I'm saying. It's proven in history that it can be used in order to get people on the same page in a positive way. So I think that it could be effective for Black people,
especially if
depending
we
on how we
control
use it.
if we control the media. I think our problem is we
Yeah,
don't control the outlets, so we are
right.
getting
You got we even got to create more outlets. You know what I'm saying? Like that's one of our biggest issues is that we need
So
more representation and we need more truth telling in the media. So
what do you
it
think
needs to
about
be coming
YouTube?
from us.
What do you think about YouTube and its ability to create new content creators and maybe like what do you think about is that a propaganda tool like social media
Yeah,
or what
social media in general. Yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Social media in general, AI, the use of AI, learning how to use it and all that type of stuff.
So
All of
look,
these things could be used as tools.
so question, if you think that if we as black people figured out how to use it for our benefit, you think they'll just shut the shit down? You know what I'm saying? Like we
Well,
figured out how
but that's why I say we need to study it. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not even 100% on how to use it. I've just recently been studying and it was like, yo, like,
AI.
why don't our propaganda movements ever go? You know what I'm saying? Like, why don't it ever maximize?
Hey,
So that's what I've
infiltrate.
been reaching into. Pause.
I understand. Yeah. Gatekeepers, you know what I'm saying? Like the music industry, I don't know if that's over with or not, but like I say, even with like the algorithms on YouTube where you're able to get the likes and the views and create like the casa nets, you know what I'm saying? Like they've been streaming for it, you know, like I want to stream. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I don't know, man. I think that you can use it both for good, just like you say, it depends on the intent, you know, the intent. 'Cause
evil, evil and lies can never be used for good. Don't let anybody ever tell you that because they have a tendency to corrupt the truth. Because men without integrity are those men that will spread evils and lies. And if you put men without integrity into position of power to help you spread your message will eventually become corrupt. Because men with integrity will not be spreading evils and lies.
No.
Think about it. It might start out with good intentions. Them
Right.
said the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
But Stu Peas, aren't you general? Did you just say don't trust anyone online? Is that what you just
No,
said?
no. That is true. I didn't say that. I didn't exactly say that, but that is true.
Okay.
You have to always, when people online come to you, right, and especially people with millions of subscribers, you have to ask yourself, how did they attain those millions of subscribers? Who was backing them? How they get into YouTube algorithms? Is it that they want Kai Cenat online because he act like a buffoon? So he's selling a message to other black youths. Act like a
Right.
buffoon and you can also be successful. What is the messaging behind Kai? So don't take it for granted that you see some people appear to be successful. because they're promoting something. They're promoting something that you might not be aware of. That's why you always can't trust what you see in front of you.
Smoking mirrors.
Right. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But we need to develop our own doctrine as black people. And that doctrine needs to be expressed across. We have never had our own doctrine put together and printed and said, this is how black people move forward together as a team. I've never seen it. Have you ever seen it?
Never seen it.
Right.
I would love to.
Right.
No, but who do
It's
we
called
respect in
Pan-Africanism.
order to who do we respect enough today to actually sit down? Like if we was able to choose 10 people, you know what I mean? Like who would be the first couple people you would choose in order to, you know what I mean, write that declaration?
To be a representative from each demographic.
Right? When if you look at Project 2025, I use them as an example. It's hundreds of people had write that shit in it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hundreds of people write that shit.
Right wingers.
Like who speaks for us? Like does Farrakhan speak for us? Like will he be there?
I don't know, but we never have a consortium of people together yet to decide. We've never had that.
I hope Jesse Jackson ain't gonna be there. Al Sharpton, them the normal people we be in, like shit. Who do
But they
speak for
kind
us?
of old now though. Jesse Jackson barely talking, barely moving. So I doubt either one of them will be, you know what I mean, candidates for it. But you know, I would pick John Hope Bryant to be there as one of the people. You know, that's coming from this side.
See, now it's starting to sound ridiculous when we start to say who could be in who, and this is the only reason why I'm saying so, stupid, because I've seen a lot of successful groups be successful without a doctrine. There's no written rule. It's just fucking culture, bro. Like Filipinos, I could just like I literally could just name it right outside. Like I live in the Bay. Filipinos, I could just name one right off the top. They're pretty successful out here in the Bay. They don't have a written goddamn doctrine. It's just culturally, yeah. So I'm just saying.
But you're talking about on the micro. We talking about macro. You know what I'm saying? Like show us, can you show on a macro scale?
That would be macro, bro. They have a whole. That's not micro, bro. That would be macro. They have a whole like network where they send money back home and. Huh?
But brother, you're talking. You described.
I'm not talking about a city. I just said the Bay Area, which we consider, which is a region that's multiple cities, and then I could move it down to Southern California. I could move it to other states. I'm naming actually a people, brother. I'm naming a people. They don't actually have. There's no culture. I'm talking about a culture. They don't have a written doctrine, brother. There's nothing written. It's just culturally within them. So then maybe we should.
What exactly
is
culturally within them, though? Are you saying? Are you saying that they don't commit crimes? They don't gamble. They don't drink. They don't do drugs. Like, what are you saying? What standard are you putting them on?
Well, maybe we should talk about that. I don't know. I don't know what they do different. I'm just telling you, brother. There's no Filipino handbook, bro. There's not. I can tell you what they do, though.
You're just saying they're culturally sound people. You know, their mother passed down certain values and traditions to the child. That their language they speak. They may know how to still speak Filipino. You know what I'm saying? Even though they're in America, you know what I'm saying? Like Mexican.
Is it like that in the Philippines?
Do we have do we have a strong, like, what is our culture like that? Something that's passed down like that amongst us, or is it?
I mean, I can
That's
talk about
my
Atlanta.
point. I don't think we have that, and I'm not sure writing a manifest or a handbook or something like that would really do that. And maybe it would. I'm not against it, but I'm just saying, like, there's other cultures that do well, and they don't have that though. That was my only point. I'm
Sam,
not
we
even
have
I'm not
we
even
have
like disagreeing with it. Yeah. But
well, brother, we have parts of our culture. I mean, I'm sorry, not parts of our culture, but parts of our people. Like a large, it's a successful portion of our people also. Like I can take you to affluent black neighborhoods. I mean, so like I don't understand how like that's why I say you. I believe that you're speaking more so on a micro scale because you're talking about people that you're familiar with or an area that you're familiar with. But outside of that area, how do those people do?
you know what, man?
Is their country doing great right now?
Perhaps I am. Perhaps I am. You know what, brother Dot. Like the thing is, some people don't concede in these conversations, and so perhaps I am. I think I wasn't speaking on a micro level, but perhaps I am, and maybe I'll just I'm gonna just shut the fuck up and maybe you know what I mean. Like maybe do some
You good,
research.
bro. Like I don't want to.
No,
I ain't trying to
no,
discourage you. Exactly that. What you just said. You would do some research because
do
that's
some
what I promote.
research. Yeah, that's
Do
what I'm
the
saying.
research, and that's the only
Yeah.
reason I asked you is because to make a comment like that, that would mean like okay, well what's going on with the Filipino people as a whole. So I was like, okay,
And
well
I
maybe
don't.
he got. That's why I'm asking questions. So okay,
Yeah, I don't.
but yeah.
I do in a sense that I know about what they tell me, but like in other words, like I've never been to the
Are you married to a
Philippines.
Filipino woman? You sound
I'm
like
not
you.
married to no,
Okay.
I'm not married to a Filipino woman. I just
Okay.
have if you're from the Bay, you know the
For sure. For
Philippines.
sure. For
Like
sure.
I literally just pointed out one. Like I
Yeah.
could name the Indians, I could name like in other words, where there's no written sort of thing, but they, you know what I'm saying? It's culture. I think there's some things that we need to look at within our culture, and it's the things that Betty says, and he gets killed for. But I think he's right. There's some culturally there are some things that we might want to take a look at that might
What is our
benefit
culture?
us. And that's a
What is
good
our
question.
culture separate
That's a good
from
question.
American
That's a
culture?
good question, Doc. That's a good question. Like, what is even our culture? Like, that's good question. Like, I wouldn't even know how to even answer that. You know
It's
what I
about
mean? Like,
growth.
because
Oh
I can't.
well, I
Because
mean, well,
I feel
you
like
have to
even as
know.
I'm talking, I'm blanketing people. And I think the reason why Fetty gets killed on that point is because not everyone fits in that sort of thing. Not everyone drills or is into the young nigga bullshit. Some people just get up and go to work and just fucking. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm
No,
saying.
but
I
not
wouldn't
in.
even know. Yeah.
Would you agree that a lot of those issues are amongst our adolescents, like amongst our kids, anywhere from
Absolutely.
from
Yeah.
13
Not
to
not
12,
right.
25?
Yeah.
You know
Not
what I
not
mean? Like,
not
so I would
not
think that it's
not
more of a
past that. Yeah.
right, but I would think that it's more of a cultural youth issue
Mm-hmm.
because I don't see it with just black people. I see it within this whole entire country. You got issues from left to right. So you know
Oh,
what I mean.
that's a good
That's
point.
why I don't like. I personally don't like to pinpoint and just say black people are just doing this culturally or whatever because like gun culture is a part of America. It's a part of you know what I mean. Like it's ingrained in this country. You know what I mean.
That's
People
a
are too.
great
I'm 2A.
point.
You know I'm pro 2A. You know what I mean.
Mm.
Yeah.
People consider me a leftist, but I'm pro 2A. I love guns, but I'm not the type of person. I don't illegally own guns.
Mhm.
I'm licensed to carry, concealed, the whole
Mhm.
9.5. So I do it the right
Mhm.
way, but I do still love guns. So it is a such thing as a gun culture in America that I think a lot of black people just tend to be kind of like it's gravitate. It's something it's exhilarating You know what I mean? When you to go out and shoot a gun. You know what I mean? When you're on a range or whatever, or you know what I mean, in the woods, it's just an exhilarating feeling to shoot a gun, even if you ain't shooting nothing but a target.
Yeah.
So I think that is something that most Americans like had this like yearning for. You know what I mean? To just shoot some shit. We want to either shoot something or we want to break something. Well, go ahead.
No, I was about to say. So even when I'm saying culture, like I even got to clean that up based on what you're saying. Like, yeah, I get that. Yeah. I feel you. Because that's not a racial thing. The 2A thing is a I'm a 2A all the way type of guy too. That has nothing to do with black or white. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
yeah, I think Americans just like guns.
We just love
like
guns.
I think if other nations if other nations had the ability to have guns like we do, you know, that don't have the ability, like once they get a itch on it, it's over with. You know what I mean?
Right.
You just don't block me.
Even I think there's a nuance even in the gun culture. But my question, so under the black banner, right? There's somebody that's going to identify as a Hebrew Israelite. There's somebody going to identify as Kemetic. Somebody's going to identify as a Native Indian. Somebody's going to be FBA, right?
Oh shit! Yeah,
all
good point.
Black. So
Good point.
Is that all our culture?
Yeah.
In one,
we multicultural. We are everybody's multicultural for the most part.
That's what it sounds like.
Everybody in the world is usually in some way, shape, or form multicultural. You know what I mean? Unless they've been isolated to themselves or whatever, it'll be somewhere. But for the most part, like a lot of people add and take away and you know what I'm saying, change things about how they
is Billy Bob multicultural? Because that motherfucker kick motherfuckers out of his own shit. Like you can Billy Bob don't give a fuck how white you are. If you pro gay, you ain't you out, nigga. I'm just saying, is Billy Bob that multicultural? Like they got a lot of goddamn power, and it seems like one way.
They've stolen more culture from other cultures than anybody else. They literally are everywhere, sprinkled everywhere in the world. White people, Europeans are everywhere. You know what I mean? They made sure of that because their whole mission, like I said, when you go and look at history, a lot of their missions was to conquer. You know what I mean? Right. These were people who were bred to conquer. They got up in the morning, it's time to go take some shit. You know what I mean? And they kept that going. You know what I'm saying? Throughout large portions of history, a large portion of those people had that mindset. That's why they was able to get so many people to go out and fighting wars. You know what I mean? Dying wars. They knew they weren't gonna make it through because the idea was to win and to conquer. So.
So even when you think it's their culture, it might not be their culture. In other words, what you're saying, basically, right?
Yeah, I mean, but it depends on what you, like I said, what's a part of
what we're talking about.
What's a part of your culture? Yeah, because like celebrations can vary, but it's a lot of black people that celebrate Christmas. That ain't in our culture. You know what I mean? That's something that became religious or added to the religious culture that we just adopted. Just like Easter and all the other little holidays and shit. You know what I mean? Like we just adopt that. Just like people who come over here or immigrate here, they adopt those cultures also. Because a lot of them start celebrating Thanksgiving, celebrating the 4th of July, you know what I mean? It's an adoption.
I see what you're saying.
We kind of all share culture in a sense. So, but I understand I understand the difference. I don't want to act like I'm dunce with shit either. You know, I think when people talking about the bad parts of black culture, quote unquote, they talking about violence, which, you know, it's something that I believe it was learned. You know what I'm saying? Violence was a learned experience for black people in this country. So I think that we perpetuated a lot more than other people did. In a you know what I mean? In a sense, in an era. I think we had an era where we perpetuated more violence than some other people did. But other people before us were perpetuating the same amount of violence, if not much more. You know what I'm saying? So we all have our areas, you know what I'm saying, our gray areas in history. I think more of recent, we've been we've been we've been highlighted more so than everybody else.
Right.
And I believe that's a part of that white supremacist propaganda though, is to highlight the badness of everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Anything happen bad, we need to make sure we put that on the big screen, even though it might be a minuscule situation. So in different ways, you know what I'm saying? I believe there's certain ways that we might be able to make propaganda work for us. I think, like I said, we just need to study it more and make sure that it's effective to the positivity that we want to push forward for Black people, especially to get us together on the same page with something. Because Pan-Africanism is about accepting all of those, like the brother was talking about. If you are, you know what I mean, if you are Black nationalist, if you are Christian or Muslim or whatever you like, whatever it is, as long as you understand that your blackness come first,
Right.
then we should be able to work together in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So I personally, my personal form of propaganda is Pan-Africanism, even though if you, I mean, my definition, like it's not a lie. You know what I'm saying? It's just an ideology. But ideology can become propagandized, and I believe that's something that we should be propagandized. It's Pan-Africanism, because that's I don't know nothing else that bring us all together with
What part
one
of the
purpose
coast?
to one goal.
What part of the coast you from? You from West Coast or East Coast?
No, I'm from the South. I'm from Atlanta.
You from Atlanta? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
There's a lot of good networking systems down there.
yeah, that's why I think I get so passionate with a lot of these conversations is because I see it in action. You know what I'm saying? So when people try to tell me like I don't know how Black people don't be working together, like I see how it's possible on so many different levels. You know what I'm saying? I see the financial people working together. You know what I'm saying? I see how they networking together here in the city. I'm seeing the political people, how they networking together on certain the activists. I see how they work together and move together, like on so many different levels. It's just that I think a lot of times people like to cross over in the areas that they might not understand from. And a lot of times lines get crossed, and then next thing you know, we at each other's neck about something that probably could have been worked out if somebody would have just stayed in their lane.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So
Sounds good.
yeah, man. But I think more wherever you are in America, I think a lot of folks need to really, you know what I'm saying, pay attention to how to work
Are,
together. You know what I'm saying?
are there a lot?
Like,
Are
do
there
the
a lot
numbers.
of like? Are there a lot of like centers and stuff down there where you at? Like youth centers, like
Youth centers,
outlet? Yeah,
not necessary.
not
Not
necessarily.
necessary. I mean, well, it's youth programs. I don't know about centers per se, but there are a lot of youth programs. You know what I'm saying? In order to get kids linked up to. I work with I work with. Well, I don't say a lot. I work with some gang intervention. Um, Folks down here. I'm trying to think of the damn name. For some reason, I just had a brain fart. But
Opportunities
yeah,
for these
gang.
people.
Yeah, it's a lot of different proponents that they can go through. You know what I'm saying? They got boxing. You know what I'm saying? They got football. They got all the sports and all that type of stuff. It's more based around athletics, which I think is starting to change up a little bit because now a lot of stuff is starting to be based towards STEM, uh, a lot of engineering and stuff like that. Like my grandson, I got a grandson or whatever, but he in the coding, you know what I'm saying, right now at 9 years old. So and that came from a program in New York because they just moved back down here from New York. And he started a coding program up there, and he just got hooked on it, and he's been on it ever since, just wanting to create, you know what I'm saying, create different characters and all that type of stuff. So it's all type of programs all over, especially down here. It's just whether or not, you know what I'm saying, people got access to them because everything's spread out down here.
Right.
It
So
ain't like it.
you gotta have a car. Ain't nobody picking them up, taking them nowhere.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
You gotta have transportation down here because public transportation only go but so far unless you like really, really deep inside the city. And Atlanta is so expansive right now, you know what I'm saying? Because it's including all of the metro cities on top of that. So you got Gwinnett, you got Cobb, you got Clayton, you got um, uh, Redan, you got Decatur, you got all of these different other areas outside of the city of Atlanta that can't really be dependent on public transportation. So that's what kind of hurts a lot of kids down here. You stay in rural areas and stuff like that off in the cuts, it's hard to get them, you know what I'm saying, especially if their parents ain't got it. It's hard to get them to their program. So they do a lot of stuff online. Yo, y'all see that?
Yeah, we still here. I was just doing a couple things. So.
Okay. Make sure my phone ain't going. Nah, but check. I don't know if Cuban busy, but I want a Cuban to chime in on that propaganda topic.
You, what's going on?
What up, Cuban? How you feel about propaganda, man?
About propaganda?
Yeah.
It could be
And could it
used.
be?
It
Go
could
ahead.
be used for good or bad, and it's also in fairness. Any political ideology uses propaganda. Like I wouldn't like if people say, "Oh, that's the propaganda of the Republicans." Yeah, there's propaganda, but there's propaganda of Democrats, propaganda of a socialist, it's propaganda of it's propaganda, it's propaganda in the political world, and it can
You
be
think
used.
it's effective?
I think it's effective.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Especially in a place like America, that's very media driven, and I would say even before YouTube, I mean, propaganda was used in movie theaters. Like back in the day, before way before any of us were born, you go to the movies, there would be propaganda towards different countries. If it was like World War II, like that, there's always like a propaganda.
If someone asking is propaganda effective, is that really a question?
Yeah. Yeah, I want to know how, like, because no, the reason I said it is because, like I said, Stupid's had a different reaction. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to make sure
Okay,
that
my bad.
I want to see what everybody's reaction was to propaganda. So everybody ain't gonna have the same opinion about it. So that's
Yeah.
why I wanted to get everybody's opinion.
Well, propaganda is not only effective; it can be very dangerous. I mean, there's been entire conflicts and wars that started off with propaganda. Anyone who knows history, like we all know that, right? So I mean, I guess if you're asking about our propaganda versus, hold on, baby, hold on. I guess if you're talking about our propaganda versus others, like that would be a different question. But propaganda is not only effective, but that shit could be fucking dangerous. Yeah, like I think we all know that, right?
So do you think it will be effective for black people to to quote what Stupid said earlier about creating a what did he say? Create
Yeah. So as much as I say it doesn't exist in other cultures, I'm not saying that it wouldn't be a good idea for us. Like we need something. Like, yeah,
What did
I'm all with it. I'm all with
what
it.
did
Yeah.
what did he say in regards to propaganda?
he said
He
that it
was
was
saying more
for
of creating a doctrine. Oh, I'm sorry, but my bad, Doc. Go ahead.
now you're right, because I couldn't think of the word. It was doctrine. You right, go ahead. He was talking about creating a doctrine because he was saying that propaganda is no good without a doctrine. You know what I mean? So I was saying like, all right, well, should we use the doctrine? Well, he was saying propaganda sucks because it's based on lies. So I was saying that, well, propaganda can be based on truth also. It just depends on how you use it. You know what I'm saying? You can have some truth in some lies and still be able to spread good propaganda. So is it a way that we could use it effectively as black people? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? In order,
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. Well, then
yeah.
if that's what you're asking, yeah, absolutely, absolutely,
I say
yes, yes, it could be effective. Yeah.
the first thing that pops in my head, um, and I guess because you guys pinpoint, let's say, the black community, you have the propaganda, and I know this was in here the other day about black on black crime. I take the position that that's propaganda by the media. That's propaganda going back to the 90s. That's propaganda with predators. That talk that the Clintons would speak, right? Then I also think of a good propaganda, right? I don't agree with everything of the Nation of Islam, and I think everybody here could agree to that. But socially, the propaganda of the Million Man March, that was a good propaganda. It showed a million black men together in Washington of different ideologies, of different class statuses that came under the banner of black people, what black people should be aiming to do towards their people in this country. That's a good propaganda. I don't see that that was bad. Now, whether or not what came from the Million Man March is something else, but if people took the concept of what that was about and made application and are consistent with those things, that's a different story. Now, what they do on stage and collecting money and where that money goes, right? That's different. Like I didn't go to the first Million Man March and I didn't go to or else, but I was at the World's Day of Atonement when he had it United Nations,
Hmm.
and the other ones, right? World's Day of Atonement. I'm there. I'm young at the time. I remember how I felt being there. I thought it was very good. I thought it was very positive. I liked the fact of what I was seeing, um, and I guess also too how I thought in some ways then of what that point of that was about, the atonement. You know, like basically you need to atone because he was speaking to, uh, the atonement of the world, right? For their things that they've done to basically make the world a better place. Sounds good. Felt good, right? Now, I think from there, what you do, what you internalize from that is what matters. You know, you can't rely on anybody, regardless of their position, their status. You know, like say a Farrakhan. You can't sit there and wait for Farrakhan all day. You know, and I and I think he would probably say the same thing. You disagree on things, you know, but that overall agenda, I think that was good. And I think that's a good I think it's a good propaganda when you see an outsider looking in at the African American community, I think it's a good thing when you see a collective group of Black people that speak on topics and show people that, hey, look, because the stereotype, Black on Black violence, right? But when you see people are intellectualizing amongst one another and maybe don't agree to everything, I think that's a good thing. It's a propaganda. It's saying, look, we can have a conversation. We can talk about intelligent conversations that might take place in the classroom and the college. But then you got, I think there's good and there's bad propaganda.
So,
and that's just on that. Amongst every ethnic group, there's a good and there's a bad propaganda, and then there's a good and bad propaganda amongst humanity. There's a good and bad propaganda amongst anything. You know what I mean? Like,
I was trying to cut, but the first two that just popped up in my head was the United States and like 911, the Twin Towers, and kind of how they use that as a way to kind of like invade Iraq. And then, like, that would be a kind of, what I'm saying, propaganda.
Yeah. But big ups to that. Yeah, that was big time propaganda. They finessed. I watched the documentary on that just the other day. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Well, I didn't see the documentary.
Yeah, it was dope, bro. Like they talked about how one of Cheney's little foot soldiers or whatever, he was scared to go in there with the idea to Bush in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Because it came from the idea didn't come from Bush to invade Iraq.
It was Cheney.
The idea came from one of Cheney's flunkies. And he was scared to bring the idea to Bush, but when he brought it to him talking about oil. And he was talking about how much oil was over there or whatever. And that automatically, sprung George Bush because Bush was an oil guy from Texas. So as soon as he brought the idea up and he started talking about how he could, what they need to do in order to spread this propaganda to get America to want to invade Iraq, and they used the weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah.
And not only did they use the weapons of mass destruction, but they also used the 9/11 attacks.
Situation.
Which had nothing at all to do with Iraq. But they made the American people think that bin Laden was being funded by Saddam Hussein, which was bogus. They had they ain't even rock with each other. You know what I'm saying? Like the Saudis or whatever, which is who bin Laden was rocking with at first, and he fell out with the Saudis because they was getting close relationships with America. And when the Saudis got that oil and everything, when they found out how rich they was getting off of that oil, they basically was like they told bin Laden basically wanted to be the one to protect the oil. So and they was like, nah, bro, you know what I mean? You are a little dude. Like we can't, you don't do enough. Like you ain't big enough to protect what we got going on. So they called it America and was like, look, we want y'all to protect our oil. You know what I'm saying? And America's like, cool, tell you what, we're protected, but shoot, we need to come put a little military base over there. So, that was like a big old no-no. You know what I'm saying? So, but the Saudis saw how much money they was making, and they was like, shoot, all right, bro, you know what I'm saying? You just keep that money flowing, then we'll let you put a base over here. You just can't put no flag on it. You know what I'm saying? We'll put you a little, a little plaque right here to say you the United States or whatever, military, but you can't put no flag on our soil at all. So when they did that, they allowed the Americans over there to put their base over there and shit. Bin Laden and them got super pissed off, of course, because, you know what I'm saying, they was real anti-Westerners. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't with none of the West had going on. And they wanted to be self-reliant. So they definitely didn't want America on their soil. So when the Saudis did that, that's when he flipped on them, and then decided to go do all the crazy shit he did. But he the son of a like stupid rich dude. Like his daddy was dumb rich. He had 50 some odd kids or something like that. He had a bunch of kids, and Bin Laden was just one of them.
Right. All right.
And he was the one that was just a super extremist. You know what I'm saying? Like he was for real about that Islam stuff. So he went crazy, did all that, but they tied in. They found a way to tie in both of them by saying that Saddam was funding Bin Laden and Saddam had the WMDs.
Yeah,
so that's what got Congress and the Senate and all of them to be like, all right, you know what? Yeah, we need to go in there and handle him. Then when they went in there, wasn't nothing there. Then next thing you know, all the files come out and everything like that of recent, and you're starting to see like, yeah, it was a plan from the get go to go in there and get that oil, like to go in there and set up shop so they can control, control the money, and also get the Saudis on their side because that's just another, that Saudis right next to Israel. You got them on the same page. You keep them cool with each other. Everybody else don't really matter. All you battling at that point is really Iran. Because Iraq ain't no more. Iraq gone. They were scared. Everybody over there was scared to death of Saddam Hussein. So the Saudis was with them getting rid of Saddam Hussein because they were talking about Saddam was going to go into Kuwait. Well, I guess he kind of did go into Kuwait a little bit, but they was fearing that he was going to take over that oil in Kuwait. So that was another reason they got rid of Saddam. They were like, nah, we can't have that, bro. Nah. You know what I mean? He had the fourth largest army in the world at the time.
Right. Saddam did?
Yeah, Saddam did. It's just Saddam had the fourth largest army in the world at the time.
Wow.
But they weren't technologically advanced as the U.S. Nowhere near. Like we ran through them cats in like a week.
Yeah.
Shooting from a mile, they tank only shoot. A couple hundred yards. Our tanks shooting from a mile away. They don't even see them coming. So yeah, they just ran through them, bro. So they military didn't really matter. But what happened with that is right when they did that, when they got rid of Saddam. Now, like I said, this military was huge, so he had a bunch of top military guys over there. So what happened with them is they fractured, the military fractured, and then they started creating shit like ISIS. That's where ISIS come from. You know what I'm saying? They came from the fracturing of the Iraqi army.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I'm trying to think of that particular what they called those before they fractured off and became ISIS. I'm trying to think of what they call it. It would be like the fucking special ops for the United States Marines, but it was like their top soldiers. Like that's like not the National Guard, not the National Guard. It's like the fuck what the name of those fucking guys.
Yeah, I wasn't. I know it was something that had to do with them over there. So I can't remember exactly.
Yeah. I hear you, but you know what I'm talking about, though, Dot.
Yeah.
But you remember when they marched through, though? You remember when they marched through Baghdad and they tore the statue down and they went through Tikrit and fuck it, like, bro. All that shit was wild as fuck.
They hung that man on camera.
Right, but all the destabilization, though. All the destabilization though that it caused though afterwards, like the fucking streets was wild. After that though, and didn't nobody want to show that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like they wanted to show the troops marching through Baghdad. And remember when they pulled the statue down and shit, and motherfuckers was running up and hitting the statue with flip flops and shit and all kind of shit. Yeah, they want to show the aftermath though. Yeah, the shit was wild after that.
That was the propaganda though. They wanted to show the people that was angry with the regime. You know what I mean?
Right.
They wanted to show them people and show it like, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, what was the word we started this topic on? They not freedom, but they were liberating.
Liberating. Yeah.
Yeah, they were liberating
They
these
didn't
people.
want to show the destabilization though. They didn't want to show that though.
Exactly. So what came from that destabilization is ISIS, who they've
It's
been
ISIS.
fighting the battle with for how many years now? You know what I mean? So
Fact.
and they've been in Africa.
Yeah, from that, from those, I cannot think of the fucking name of it, man. Those elite fucking
It wasn't
Iraqi
Ayatollah.
soldiers.
Was it Ayatollah?
Say it again. Was it the Ayatollah? You might be right. You might be right. It was something like that. It was something like that. But those the elite army members, it would be like the baddest of the baddest. That's where ISIS came from. Like, part of it, not all of it, but that's partly where ISIS came from. Like them badasses from the fucking like we kind of
it's called the Republican Guard, Iraqi Republican Guard.
Was it the Republican Guard? I had said that, but I'm not sure if it was them or not. Yeah, I said that, but I'm not sure if it was them or not. But yeah, I think it was the Republican Guard. It was like the fucking the special ops. It was like the elite. It was the elite of the elite. Yeah, that's what branched off to form ISIS. Yeah, we did that.
It's a SRG. Yeah, that might be what you're talking about. SRG. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm fucking it up, but I just know that that's where the mix came from.
Are y'all familiar with Hitler? Are we still talking about propaganda? Are y'all familiar with Hitler and how he came to?
You talking about the Promagant?
A little bit.
Okay. That might be another example of propaganda and how he came to power and got everybody up out of there. And
propaganda is effective, and it can be dangerous when used the wrong way, but it can be it's effective either way, whether you want to use it for right or wrong. Like, propaganda that's some real shit, bro.
Well, see, it was good for the Aryan nation, but it was bad for the Jews. You know what I'm saying? Like, they felt like it would have been good for them to follow that propaganda, because all of them Aryans was out there burning books and Bibles and everything out there. They was doing that as a people. Like, the people were behind that German Aryanism.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't just Hitler. It was actually the people who got behind him and believed in what Hitler was kicking, and he was just kicking what they wanted him to kick. He was just putting it out even more. But that's what they felt. That's what them people felt in their hearts. They hated the Jews. That's why they was able to do that shit. They didn't have like specialized people. They got normal, everyday, average people to go in there and work in the internment camps.
So the Nazis were
Commandant Vladimir Lenin. Yeah, like that shit was that shit was real.
So the Nazis were just a political party, right? That came to power, right?
Right.
Basically.
They by Hitler's command.
Let me add something here real quick, guys. Just for clarification. Hitler ran in an election. He did not win. Then the Chancellor of Germany, he essentially they wanted to use Hitler to go against the communists. They thought they could control him, and the Chancellor gave him power, or essentially like sanctioned him in some way. Then, when he got power, he took over the government in like 53 days. And they didn't have elections again, I think, until after World War II had ended. By the way, just another thing. Hitler went to prison for going against the government.
I didn't know.
You don't want another thing to trip you out? Hugo Chavez went to prison for going against the government.
Really?
And I think, if I'm not wrong, Castro also. They all went against the state.
Castro.
Yeah, they all went against the state, got convicted for it, went to prison, and then came back out and ended up running the same state that they went against, and kind of ran it into the ground for the most part, most of them. Anyway, that's all I'll say.
I didn't know all of that. Interesting. Yeah, see, a lot of and that's why I stay on mute a lot of times, because like I need to brush up on my history. A lot of this shit I used to be able to shoot off the head with, but I can't now because I'm having some medical problems. But I might have even known that, and maybe I just reintroduced me to it. But like, that's wow,
I
that's
didn't know that
interesting.
either. That's some new information for sure.
I'm like right now. I'm gonna go with that's new information to me.
Yeah. I don't mind. Learning. It sounded good. It sounded right.
Right.
Sounded right for sure. But yeah. I'm gonna probably jump up off of that.
Yeah, for sure. Me too. Yeah. This was some good shit today, guys. Though, as always, TMI is always interested. Y'all take it easy.
I'm good.